Out of Gotham, a crazy podcast about DC, with your hosts E-Rock and PD. When we speak up, get your geeks up, cause you know you about to get geeked up. So sit back, relax, and get comfy. Lose your mind like Solomon Grundy, and listen to a show that won't be forgotten, coming straight out of Gotham.
And hello, everybody out in Kondak. Welcome to another episode of Straight Outta Gotham, episode 96. We are a fandom pop culture podcast and a proud member of the Batman Podcast Network, hosted by Batman on Film. Make sure you check out all the other great shows on the network by heading over to BOF, clicking that drop down, and welcome to the buffet of nerd chat. Pick whatever show you want to listen to. They're all great. This week's recommendation of the month is Raimi Review. And so we'll start there. That's a good fun one if you like video games, and Micah does other stuff, not just nerdy stuff. So it's good stuff over there. I'm your co-host from the other side of the Hudson River, a senior contributor to Batman on Film. I'm Peter R. Vera. Today we're recording on October 29th, 2022, and it's a great day because the Houston Astros are losing the World Series 1-0. And as always, we have a great show for you today, but before we get into the good stuff, I'd like to remind you all, our faithful listeners, if you take the time to rate and review this show on Apple Podcasts, and we read your review on air, you have just won a Straight Outta Gotham prize pack. Check out our social media if you're interested to see what other contest winners have won, because basically it's probably like, winning nerd lottery. So get your reviews in like Rotten Tomatoes, and you got to be in it to win it. So make sure you do that. Now, let me introduce you to my partner in crime, the man who defeated Sally Jesse Raphael in the 1977 New York, Pennsylvania Interstate Blindfolded Pumpkin Carving Championship. Ladies and gentlemen, a Batman on Film junior contributor, Eric Holzman.
Thank you, Pete. Memories again. All these memories. Sally Jesse Raphael was a beautiful person, by the way.
How do you guys carve pumpkins blindfolded? I think that's very dangerous.
It's kind of like a feel thing. You just kind of, you put the blindfold on, then you kind of feel around, find your spot. And then they give you a nice little carving tool. It's not like anything crazy. It's not like they give you a butcher knife or anything.
By any chance, do you know how to read Braille? Like, would that help you in your
It
training?
Probably would. I don't know how to do it, but it probably would help you if you knew that.
Okay.
It's just good to know what a pumpkin feels like in this regard. And then, especially, how sometimes you get the crappy pumpkins with like that white stuff on it and whatever. So you kind of have to know where not to carve. But yeah, it's a fun experience. I think everyone should try it, by the way. You should put a blindfold on when you do your pumpkin and then just see what comes out.
So do you just go to random pumpkin patches, close your eyes, and just start feeling them like a psycho? Are you a pumpkin pervert?
Not anymore. Not anymore.
Okay. Is there
ever
phase?
Since the restraining order, I can't do that anymore. So
from where? Like Duchess Farms? Were you just breaking in to feel their pumpkins?
It was a little strange. They thought it was weird of me to do that. I don't know why.
Is this it sounds like cult activity.
They're not living things. I wasn't hurting anyone. I don't understand, but
pumpkins are alive, Eric. They grow.
That's true. You're right. I am wrong. They are living things.
They need water and love to grow.
Do they?
Yeah. You ever have a garden?
I know they need water, but love?
You got to love your plants. If you don't love your plants, they're not going to grow. Like, why would they grow for you if you don't like them?
That's fair. That's a good point.
You're clearly not a gardener. I'm
not. It's weird. I've grown up. I've been a suburban person all my life. Have had yards and gardens. This is not my thing. I hate cutting grass. I hate gardening. I'm not that guy. I'm so much more of a city guy than a suburban guy. But what are you gonna do?
Right. Well, good thing you live near New York.
That's true. I do live where I live is still suburbs, but I live very close to Queens, so much more of an urban feel.
You put the urban in suburban?
Yes, I definitely did. But we have a special thing today that we haven't had in a while. It's called a guest.
It's called a guest. Oh, thank you.
We actually have a guest today. He's been on the show before a while ago, but he is also the creator of the Batman Book Club. He is also a friend of ours, a very good friend of ours as well. Mr. Ryan Lauer. Welcome back.
Thank you, gentlemen. It's very nice to be back here on the show recording with both of you. I know basically at this point, if Pete's not your co-host, he's mine over on my show, Eric. So it's nice to be with both of you on your guys' show. Also,
Lauer let me out.
I totally appreciate the respect to one Sally Jesse Raphael. Pete, she still is alive. You spoke of her as if in the past tense, but she's still rocking.
Okay, well, you know what? Good for her.
I want to make that clear because yes,
pioneers of daytime television.
And it also just goes to show that Eric has a thing for Sally's.
Yeah, I mean, let's not forget the great Sally Testerberger.
Great, yeah.
Eric's ex-girlfriend who can't seem to leave us alone. She's just so hung up on Eric.
So,
yeah.
I wonder if she ever wore shoulder pads and red frame glasses. She could probably pull it off too. It's a Sally.
I don't know. But I'll tell you one thing she rode: the E-Train.
Oh boy!
But thank you guys for the invite. I appreciate it.
Long. Of course, man. It's been too long. It's been too long. Pete and I kind of get caught up in our thing, and we just kind of.
Oh, it's your guys' show. You can do whatever.
Throw these things out every week. We throw these things out every week, and with scheduling and time, it's been tough to get everyone together. So it's just fun having you back on and recording with you. Pete gets to do it, I don't, so it's cool to have you back. So yeah, we're gonna get into
comic books, Eric.
Yeah, well,
that'll never happen.
We're actually gonna talk about a comic book later on. Woo-hoo! There's one that came out recently. We're gonna actually talk about a little bit, so we'll get into that a little bit in the future. But I guess really quickly we can touch on the sports, and then we can move forward from there. So as Pete mentioned, the Houston Astros are losing in the World Series.
And not only did they tried to cheat in the game, so they're still at their old antics, leaning into pitches. I'm glad America got a chance to watch it now. So, the entire country's rooting against them except for one city. So, and
that's true.
I'm a bitter Yankee fan. Kiss my ass if you got a problem with it.
Yeah, when a team beats you up as much as the Astros have beat up the Yankees.
It's just another NL East team who couldn't crack 90 wins.
It's crazy.
They're becoming your Ohio State, basically, Pete. So I get it. I totally get it.
I don't get the reference because I'm not a football guy.
Okay.
So I don't know how much Ohio State dominates Michigan. To an extent, I understand.
Too much in my lifetime, actually.
Okay.
Here in the 21st century, it's been pretty bad.
Has it been that way?
But, yeah.
Yes, it's been very one-sided in Lauer's life. Tilted towards it, but they did Michigan won last year.
They did. I'm
going to say this: the Astros have been to 6 ALCSs. They're clearly straight ALCSs. They're clearly the best team in baseball the last 7-8 years. But you're turning into the Buffalo Bills here. You're going to have to win one. The one you won is tainted. You got to win a clean one, and if you don't do that, it's kind of hard to be a dynasty. In my mind,
maybe the Braves of the 90s.
Yeah, that's what I'm kind of leaning to.
It would
be. A lot of people wanted to compare the Dodgers recently to the Braves, but I think Houston has just been more successful. Winning their division consistently. The Braves have won their division. It seemed like for 15 years in a row.
I thought it was 16. I think that was their streak stopped at. 16,
it was a long
like
streak.
That.
It was
really
almost
long.
2 decades, and. I still give Houston a lot of credit, with the amount of turnover they've had between the front office and the field. And even though they're heavily analytic, they still let Dusty run the team like a real manager when they're playing the game. So I still think they've combined the best of both worlds. But, you got to win one. And they've had trouble with the NL East, apparently.
Yeah, they have the secret sauce, whatever the NL East knows.
That's not a good term for baseball.
That's true. Actually, that's very true. But yeah, they seem to have the NL East team seem to have a good read on whatever Houston likes to do well, or they're just put together to beat them.
It's also a very interesting World Series for people in the tri-state area. Obviously, Yankee fans can't stand the Astros, and the Phillies have had a number of ex-Yankees. They're managed by an ex-Yankee, and they also have 2 starting pitchers who are ex-Mets.
And Met fans hate them.
And Noah Syndergaard is a very hated Met, and
yes.
Zach Wheeler was let go by the previous regime.
Yep.
And because he was too much money, and he's pitched him to a World Series.
Yeah. So yeah.
It's a very, very interesting World Series here.
It was weird. During the ALCS, all the Met fans I know, some of them were kind of like, you know what, Eric? we're actually rooting for the Yankees. And I was trying to like think about why. And then it made sense because it was the Phillies, who they hate because they're a division rival. The Padres, who beat the Mets this year, so they hated them. And
they rock in a hard place.
Yeah. And then most people don't like the Astros because of the cheating scandal and everything. So they were like, the one team that's left. It's the
that
Yankees
happened to me for game 1. I walked into the deli for a sandwich, and Joe was like, I'm rooting for the Yankees. I can't root for these Astros. I can't root for these. And I'm just looking like, this is why they're going to lose. Like, you've rooted against the Yankees for my 36 years of existence. And I walk in here and you put the Maloki on me. I'm like, I'm walking out.
Well, I just pull a Nico and I just look for the Cub connection. So it was rooting for the Yankees because of Rizzo, and now Schwarber's on the Phillies. So it's like, sure, go Phillies. And also, Houston's are cheaters. So there you go.
Yeah, they have separated themselves from that scandal for a little bit. Like, there's not many of those guys left. You got Bregman, you've got Altuve.
But you even just said they're still cheaters.
But see, he's the one. Altuve, as long as Altuve is there, it matters to me. That's the guy. He's the one I hate the most.
Really? I still hate Bregman.
The number one guy.
No, it's Altuve for me.
Really?
I'll never forget the whole coming towards home plate, covering the shirt. That's an image in my head I will never forget. So I hate that guy. And
they've gotten kind of lucky in the past, to be honest with you. Like the year after they were essentially convicted of cheating, there was nobody allowed in the ballpark. So, they kind of had an easy comeback.
That's
really
true.
Face an audience until much later in the season, but you can't take anything away from them. They've been the best team in baseball for a long time now, and much like the Texas Rangers in 2009 and 2010. They were above everybody else, and we'll see what happens. But I've never seen. It's funny seeing these teams walk in there and have no problem playing in Houston, and the Yankees walk in there, and clearly it's all in their heads.
Yep, it's totally in their heads. They're 100% in their heads.
We'll see what happens. So. Aaron Judge has a problem with orange. Let's see how he does next year when he's wearing it for the Giants.
Oh, that's a whole other show. We could do a whole other show on the Yankees offseason. Different show. We could literally do. We've already heard rumblings about things that are going on. I don't want to get into it now because that would be another 20-minute conversation. And Lauer would be like, guys, shut up. I don't want to talk about it.
What would that show be called? All Yankeed out?
Straight out of the bullpen.
Straight out of the bullpen.
I already came up with a title. I have a title for every possible scenario with a straight out of theme.
What happened to Straight Out of Gamma though? We were supposed to.
I'm waiting for Lauer to record. He's a little bit busy. He's got to catch up on his Hulk books.
Yeah, I got to start. That's how much
he just started reading other books besides The Long Halloween. So him to get into entirely another character is a chore.
No, I still got a couple more days of Long Halloween, and then November 1st I can start on the other stuff.
Yes, I've loved following.
I keep trying to sell him on Hulk Gray, considering his Loeb and Sale, because I know you got a hard on for those two.
You shut your mouth right there, Peter.
I've actually enjoyed the one panel stuff. That's been fun to follow.
Thank you. So. I got to do it. I forgot to do it today.
Thank you for reminding me to harass Paul Herman.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm also wearing a Straight Outta Gotham shirt on Straight Outta Gotham. That's another pet.
And it's gray for Hulk Gray.
Yeah. Paul
that's
says
awesome.
You can't support the shows that you're on by wearing them when you record. So that's for you, Paul Herman.
Is that you can't wear a shirt of the band you're going to see?
Yeah.
That's such a
that's
Seattle
exactly
thing.
what he said. And I think me and Justin
don't be that guy.
What are you talking about? That's what you're supposed to do. Hey,
Ask
don't wear
Paul
Yankees.
About the Seattle Freeze. He didn't even know that.
Don't wear Yankees gear to a Yankees game. It's a sin.
It's crazy stuff.
Crazy
talk, Paul.
I remember the first time I heard that rule. What movie is that from? I forget. It was the guy who played Cheese. He said it in one of his earlier roles.
Jeremy Piven.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
The one in college.
Yeah,
God,
that college movie.
I know what you're talking about. I know what you're talking about.
Old
I
School?
like that movie. Rosenbaum's in it too.
No. It's before Old School.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Michael Rosenbaum's in it too, in that movie.
Was it PCU?
It might be. Yeah, it was something like that. It was something PCU or something like that. But yeah, I do enjoy that movie. That's kind of one of those movies that didn't do well, but gets a cult following.
Shawshank Redemption.
So, all right, guys. So let's start now. Let's roll into, of course, the
news.
All right.
I still think he says Muse.
So we're going to begin with, let's just start coming right out the gate with our review of Black Adam now that all of us have seen it. I mean, I've given my thoughts on this a couple times, so I will let one of you guys begin and talk about.
I'll start. I was very impressed with this movie, start to finish. I really liked the story. I thought there was a deeper meaning involved in that as well. I thought the CGI was fantastic, especially what they did with the twist about the son and the father and the Rock and how he looked. You know, it was very interesting to see the Rock look like a normal person at one point, very skinny. I thought they did that brilliantly. You know, because if you think about it, guys, like what other movies have done stuff like that? First Avenger have kind of taken somebody else's face, put it on a really tiny person's body.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, you know, just of course, throughout the years, technology has gotten better. So it really worked in that aspect. The JSA was phenomenal, even though we got a little bit backstory on some characters. I'm an Atom Smasher fan, thanks to Jeff Johns and his run in JSA. The Henry Winkler cameo was probably my favorite cameo, as he played Mr. Pratt, the original Adam. Cyclone was a little underdeveloped, but she was there. She, you know, she's kind of Storm essentially. I thought her powers were cool. Pierce Brosnan killed it as Dr. Fate. Their special effects for Dr. Fate were amazing. His performance was wonderful. The tension between him and Hawkman was perfectly placed at the right time. Aldous Hodge was brilliant in the role. And I mean, and to be honest, I really love the whole aspect of, you know, this archaeological stuff. It was like, instantly I was getting vibes of Indiana Jones because of the guy who played, I forget her name in the movie, but the character is Isis. Her brother is essentially Salah from Indiana Jones. And then you get the aspects of Brendan Fraser's Mummy mixed in with just comic book movies, and there's some little bit of X-Men 1 in there. And it just really worked for me. I know a lot of people are kind of iffy on it, but because they feel like it started slow, but I really got into that opening exposition about Kahndaq and the history. Like, I was really captivated about this movie from the first opening scene, and you know, and then by the end of the movie, I'm just splooging all over my pants because of the cameo. It's just
that baseball sauce again.
Yeah, you know, literally, I'm putting my secret sauce on your hamburgers.
Okay.
I was just phenomenal. I have no complaints. I think it's great. I didn't go in there expecting the Dark Knight, and I didn't go in there, and I went in there and I didn't expect it to be Green Lantern. It's just a really fun movie. The only issue I think I say I would have with this movie is that this probably should have came out in June and July, because this feels like a summer tentpole thing. You know, I think this really could have been a huge summer movie. But I really enjoyed it. If I had to grade it, I don't know, I give it like a solid BB plus. I had a lot of fun with it, and I'm really looking forward to expanding this whole magical realm within the DC now that it's officially called.
Yeah, I mean, again, I've given my thoughts on it multiple times, but one of the main critiques that we've heard is that the Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson isn't as charismatic as he normally is. So Laura, I'll ask you, did that bother you, the fact that The Rock wasn't technically The Rock in this movie, or did you enjoy watching him be a different kind of character?
I felt like he was The Rock, but this was where almost blunt delivery worked the best. And it wasn't like monotone, it was just very matter of fact, all of his lines and being delivered. You know, it was like I don't know, it's just very like serious, and but like I don't know, it was good. I really liked how he did do that, and he wasn't trying to be, you know, the cheeky haha funny with some of his smart ass comments or anything like that. And when he did use some like and it did work, I really liked his performance as Black Adam in this.
Yeah,
you know, there were definitely moments that were still like, oh yeah, this is Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson as Black Adam, but also it worked. He definitely worked in that role for me.
Yeah, I agree. It was kind of nice, and I even said this when I did my first review. It was kind of nice to see him not being the over the top wrestler character that he is often in films still. It was kind of nice to see him more subdued and playing a role about a guy who obviously, this guy's been dead for 5,000 years. It's a completely different society that he wakes up to. It's just a totally different thing, different time for him. So anyone, I think, would kind of be like that, would kind of be just kind of deadpan and not know how to react and just kind of be this, this godlike figure. So it was actually kind of cool for me to see that.
So how you just said deadpan, I think that's a good way to put it, but that's not meant negatively.
No, not at all.
Like he says something and moves on. It's
well,
not
like
sitting
sarcasm.
There it's not
right.
sitting there. Yeah, it's not. He's not sitting there to see like, I'm going to say something to ruffle your feathers and let's see what you come back with me. It's like, no, I'm putting the punctuation and then I'm moving on to the next thing.
I thought the humor in the movie was good too. I thought it was well placed. Like for me, him walking through walls instead of not using doors never got old.
No,
things like that.
Really quickly and throwing the one guy and remembering at the very last second, don't forget to tell him the man on box hit you. Like that really, like I got a good laugh out of that because that felt it felt genuine. It didn't feel forced. It just worked. Of like, oh yeah, I was supposed to say this catchphrase thing at the last second, and that was funny to me. It wasn't hammy and hand-fisted.
No, the little boy, I'm forgetting his name. I don't know why, but
Amon.
Amon. He's kind of like the moral center for this in this movie. He's kind of like the the kid who has all the idealism.
In a way, he's Freddie Freeman.
Yes, he's kind of the Freddie Freeman.
There's parallel. There's a lot of parallels, and it connects very well to Shazam in that aspect.
Right. So he's kind of, and he kind of drives why Teth Adam at that point he doesn't become Black Adam until the end, the very end. But he's why Teth Adam kind of does the things he does and actually kind of helps out because he wants to save him at certain points, and so he's kind of the emotional center of the film, and that kind of guides you through the story, and like that kind of carries you through the story. And
how spoiler are you gonna get here?
Full spoilers.
Yeah,
full spoiler. Okay,
100%. It's been like what, 2 weeks?
So Eric, I haven't gotten to talk to you about this at all.
Sure,
but I did get to tell Pete that I thought the opening took a little. Next viewing of it won't feel as long as the first viewing of that opening, but I did feel like this is big and for me, it's a thing of like to open up a movie with massive exposition dump. I'm like, you're just telling me to remember all this stuff about everything that's just new as we continue on, and I'm like, I'm not going to remember that. And then I felt like the movie for like the next almost hour and a half just like crushed it. Like it's fun action that just kept moving. JSA just they showed up at work, the fighting and more of that. And their Teth Adam and the JSA, them clashing was like a good, like, oh, this is a good part of the movy.
Yeah.
And then
in the middle of the city,
you thought they took out Ishmael or whatever, which I was like, okay, so what are they going to do with, how are they going to wrap this up? What's the rest of the movie? And I thought all of a sudden then we're in hell. And that really got me, to me, that took me out of it, where I got like,
really?
Like, what? Like, what is this? Because I just felt like it was a big shift. And then they crammed retired Teth Adam. The devil comes up. There's zombies. Let's unite the city to fight the zombies. Let's sacrifice a main character. Let's make sure to resurrect Teth Adam as Black Adam again. And let's have him take down the villain in like 10 minutes. And I was like, whoa, this is a lot to just kind of cram. I felt the city thing was going to be a bigger part, because then it's like they never checked back on it. It was like, Amon, let's unite and fight these zombies. And they're like, yeah. And then it was just like there was nothing until it was just shown that they're all gone. And it was really rushed of a return of Black. Like it wasn't enough time to me to really settle with the fact that they don't have him. And like, I don't know, that to me took the movie down, because it didn't end like on a high note for me in the sense of how I was feeling that hour and a half of Black Adam just kicking ass and clashing. Like, all that was so good. Then it stopped and went to this stuff that was rushed to me. Sorry, that was really long and winded.
No.
For me, I feel like I needed that exposition in the beginning. I need the context of Black Adam. And I felt like the general audience would need that as well, because I don't think many people know about Black Adam. So you've got to tell me about this character and his history in order for me to care enough about him at the end of the movie. Again, if you have issues with the whole going to hell thing, I took that as the gods have their champion in Shazam, and at one point Black Adam, and they even said it in the movie, the wizard has his champion, we have ours. Again, that just connects, the gods to the devils. And I thought that was pretty cool in my opinion. And I was like, man, and I didn't mind the whole disposable villain thing, because to me, this is what Suicide Squad, David Ayer's Suicide Squad should have been. Right. And in a way, it kind of is the team gathering around something that they can, get rid of and destroy. And, I didn't have any real problem with it. I thought everything was paced pretty well. I think the scenes that you don't like in a 2.5-hour movie probably get explained a little bit better.
Sure.
Than a 2-hour popcorn action film, which I think this is. So that 30 minutes can go a long way with those little details. If those are the issues you have with the film, I can't tell you otherwise, but for me, I just didn't have them, and that's just my perspective.
It is kind of a rough transition. I'll give you that. It is kind of a rough to go for, exactly like you said, from this nonstop scene to where they capture him finally, and then he finally relents and says, okay, you got to promise I'll never say Shazam again and become Black Adam. And he's like, okay, fine. And then all of a sudden it's just kind of the turnkey moment, but you kind of knew it was coming because Dr. Fate kept kind of hinting, like this is it's not over yet. So you knew something was coming. Right. So you knew something else was coming, but it is a little fast. You're right. It goes bang, bang, bang. There's not a lot of explanation. So the exposition in the front, maybe you needed more of that in the end.
Yeah.
to kind of explain a little bit more to get you there. But the reason it didn't take me out of the movie is because the pace was still fast. Like I thought the pace was consistent in the film, that it kept moving. So I was able to just put those pieces together and run with it. I didn't love the villain. That's been another complaint, and it's a complaint in a lot of comic book movies. And I felt it kind of landed here for me as well. A little bit about him. You don't know much. It's cool that the crown kind of connects the whole thing, and that's how he becomes Sabak and the whole deal. But you kind of
probably not going to get that action figure. I'll tell you right now.
But
I'll end up getting everybody else.
Yeah, you kind of are like, it's whatever. And because for the most of the movie, it's being sold that Black Adam is the villain, right? That's most of the movie.
Yeah,
and I'd have been so fine if the whole movie was just JSA Black Adam.
Right.
That was the crux to me of that big, that I keep saying like an hour and a half. I don't know if that's how long it was, but like the majority of the movie was that. And I think that's where it was at its best.
Yeah, I get what you're saying, but the character does kind of like toe that line.
Yeah.
Like I kind of compare Black Adam in a way to Dr. Doom, like he's looked at from the outside as an iron fist ruler. Maybe we've got to be weary of him. And, you really do get that idea by film's end. But his people love him. To the people of Kahndaq, he is their savior. He is their champion. He has rescued them. So there is a group of people who really think that Black Adam is the man. This is the guy. No one cared about us until this guy came around.
Yeah. And
that was, that's why I said the movie's got a little bit of a deeper message that might get lost in a lot of the fighting and action. But that's what I find so interesting about this character. And, shout out to DC for getting to this before Marvel did. How many times have you heard DC's just copying Marvel? We hear it with the Flash and the multiverse stuff, you heard it about BVS and Civil War. And, to kind of get out in front finally is it's a little bit of a W. Like, I know they say they're not competing, but it must be annoying to constantly be told you're copying somebody else's homework. And that's what I think is really cool about this villain or this character is there's some people who swear he's a hero, and there's a lot of people who think that he's a loose cannon. So,
right. It's the old point of view question, right?
Yeah.
So depending on your point of view, some guy could be good, some guy could be bad. It all depends on how you look at things. But the movie does kind of delve, you were talking about other themes. The movie does kind of delve into themes like colonialism, imperialism, things of that nature, because that's still going on. Kahndaq is under colonial rule still. So you have that thrown in here as well. It's very, very, it's layered more than you would think this kind of a film would be.
I didn't expect that. I really didn't.
Yeah, it was another. It was a pretty cool thing to see, but overall, just I don't know. Like the little things you guys like that Laura brought up, everything, the little problems. I totally see it. I understand what you're saying, and I can see how you think that. But for me, it just flowed. Like that was the thing. I don't need everything to be this huge introspective story about a hero, or sometimes it's nice to just watch a movie and see guys fight and see battles going on and things exploding, and sometimes you just want that.
Doesn't it feel kind of like 80s to you? Feels like almost like an 80s action flick with a little bit more like CGI and less practical effect.
Yes, it very much is. If this movie came out in 1987, I would not have argued with anybody and said you're kidding me. Like I totally could see that as well. All right, so let's of course talk about the scene that got everyone crazy and going into this was the reveal and the extra credit scene where Henry Cavill Superman does show up. I know, sorry, spoiler everybody.
I left at the credits. Oh, damn it.
You mean it wasn't Dean Cain?
Was not Dean Cain. It was not Tyler Hoechlin. It was not a ghost
George Reeve resurrected.
George Reeve or Christopher Reeve, digital creation.
Yeah.
It was Henry Cavill Superman and Henry Cavill this time. It wasn't neck down headless. It was an actual it was actually him. So and of course the fantastic Viola Davis as Amanda Waller shows up in this movie a couple times, and like I say all the time, anytime she's in something I'm gonna lean towards watching it anyway. So she introduces the cut because, as we know, she could never be like, okay, this guy's cool now. She's always on her toes up, So she kind of tells him, you have to stay in conduct. You can't go anywhere. That's what you're in control of. And then he's like, well, no one on this planet can stop me. And she goes, I know people from other planets. And then here we go. He says, send them all. And then we see Henry Cavill Superman. So even though most people knew it was coming, Lauer, how did you feel when you finally saw the scene in the theater?
It was cool. Like I was glad to see. I was glad that it was Superman, and I'm still fine with Henry Cavill as Superman. And I don't mean that as like, oh, it's fine, kind of fine. I'm like, yeah, cool. Henry Cavill is still Superman. Cool. All right, get that S stands for hope, like Pete's middle initial. Get that symbol out there. Let's build toward another Superman movie. And if he pops up in other ones, then cool. Like, I don't know. I saw this as a good thing.
I don't see how it's a bad thing. We've all said, I don't think there's anyone who doesn't like Henry Cavill in this role. I don't think there's one person out there who doesn't want him to get another shot at Superman. We've all wanted that. While, we know that the studio at one point had other plans. A Val Zod Superman movie doesn't really get my juices flowing as much as, a traditional Kal-El Clark Kent Superman. I think this is great to get the hype train going. Everyone's talking about it. And, I know some people have issues because it was a different theme and because now he has a spit curl, but, he's still Superman. And I'm very excited that he's returning. Also because, Superman working in junction with the U.S. government, and this has been kind of a debate online, but to me, that's truth, justice, and the American way. The government sending him in there. And he went in there willingly just to kind of restore order and peace and basically just let him know, hey, look, I'm watching you. Like, to me, that's very faithful to comic books. It's been a debate online, about better tomorrow, but for me, that will never be the tagline. And it feels very comic book accurate having Superman watch and in the wings, waiting to just interject. And, I'm really excited for it because I'm a fan of Man of Steel. I'm a big fan of BVS. And I'd like to see Henry Cavill back in this role. It's, it could have been any Superman, to be honest with you, but the fact that it's Cavill, like, I have no complaints and I don't see how anyone could. I don't care what timeline it is. We know the Flash is going to restart things. Things are going to be a little bit different, but like we've seen guys, Affleck got redemption. Ryan Reynolds has gotten redemption. Let's get Henry Cavill get some superhero redemption. I think he's earned it. It's time for another Superman movie. and I'm happy that it's in the works. I really am. It's something that we all love to see, and I can't imagine anyone who dislikes who likes Superman is not excited for this.
I like how you just said of like of the two, and I have my absolute doomsday clock just like right here, and because I was like, wait, hold on a second, and sure enough, there's pages of Black Adam versus Superman, like facing off, and I'm like, yeah, written by the master Jeff Johns.
Yeah.
I mean that's kind of how I feel. Like I think we've all said this before, and like Pete, you said, we all kind of thought he got the short end of the stick. Playing this role because he only got his one solo film, and then they kind of panicked, and we know what happened from that point. And Henry Cavill, I mean, I say all the time, the fact that he had 43 lines in the theatrical cut of a 2.5 hour movie that he's the co-lead in was crazy to me. So now we're getting, we've got news, and word came out after the fact that Man of Steel 2 is in fact in development. So we know that that's coming down the road. And Henry Cavill actually spoke in New York City at the 92nd Street Y, which a lot of people out of New York know because it's been, this specific Y has been in other movies. So every time I thought it was cool that they did it there. But he was interviewed by MTV's Josh Horowitz, and they were talking about obviously the end credits scene and how that came about. And he got to choose the suit, so he chose the Man of Steel suit, he said, because it was really important that he's standing there and enjoying the moment. That was one of the top moments of his career. And, of course, we know Cavill also released a little video announcing his return, saying that Black Adam was just a small taste of things to come. He gives a little bit of insight on the gun Saffron thing, which we'll talk about in a couple minutes, but we give a little bit of insight on that. And Zack Snyder actually sent a question in at this little
he's back. They're both back.
This little interview. So he asks about the early flying scenes that he worked on in Man of Steel, and he asked specifically about that kind of thing. And Cavill actually speaks very nice about it, said he's a lovely guy, he's appreciative for everything he's done. He wouldn't have got this opportunity if it wasn't for Zack Snyder. So very appreciative of Zack and what he did for his career, and how, let's be honest, he might not even have been in Mission Impossible if not for being Superman. You know,
I feel very similarly about Bill Raimi. I never would have met Kevin Conroy if it wasn't for Bill.
Yeah, we wouldn't know each other. Yeah. If it wasn't for Bill, right? Like we wouldn't be sitting here.
Some of you would have rather have been that way, but hey.
So we would not know each other for that. So yes, that's true. That's a very, very, very good.
So wait, comment. Pete, you're saying that Bill is Zack Snyder?
Yeah, of our little BOF world, yes. He's the architect.
Pete, it was nice knowing you on BOF. Yeah.
Pete has left Batman on film.
You won't be asked
to leave. There you go. He's been asked to leave.
But Cavill does also talk a little bit about the development of Man of Steel 2, or what's going on in the future. All he says is, I can't say anything, which of course has become the tagline for everything we kind of report on in development here. Whenever we find out something, we always say, and we don't know what role they're playing or what exactly is going to be going on happening. So, but it was cool. It was a cool little interview. And, he seems happy to play the role. I think that's the best part of it, was he can't wait to play an enormously joyful Superman.
Well, that's what he said at his red carpet interview for the movie he's doing with Millie Bobby Brown. He said 3 words: hope, optimism, and joy.
Yeah.
And, that kind of sent ripples throughout the Twitterverse, depending on, what side you're on. But to me, that always, I've always been a fan. And, if you want to call me a bootlicker or whatever stupid word you want to call me, I've always been a fan of the cat out of the tree Superman,
right.
That version. And I say that as a person who enjoys other interpretations such as Red Sun or BVS, just to name a few that are different than normal. But everyone has their preferred take, and that just happens to be mine. And that's kind of what I think of. I think that's what was sold to us for JL-17. And I think that aspect of the character was portrayed that way in that film. And I always kind of felt that was essentially the version of the character that I love the most. So to hear him say that, and see him coming out the way he did at the end of Black Adam with that theme, like, That's pretty. They're laying it on thick.
Yeah, they are. I agree with that. Lauer, real quick, do you think the next version will be a continuation of the one that we got in JL17, that Superman? What do you think?
Yeah, better CGI. But but otherwise, like a bright blue and red suit, a non-muted blue sky, like a brighter movie. And I say all that like jokingly, but I mean, you guys had me on long ago, like right before Zack Snyder's Justice League got announced, and
yes,
I talked about I like most of Zack Snyder's movies, and I like Batman vs Superman a lot. I like Man of Steel a lot, but I really truly feel that this Superman didn't resonate as much with as many people because of the like Zack Snyder's style. I don't think it was Henry Cavill's fault at all. I think he did a good job. I think all the casting, even Lex. I think the casting was good in his movies. It's just I don't think that Zack's take is fit for that kind of Superman. So I really hope that they're listening to pitches from writers and directors, creators, for something to match that style of a brighter. And I'm not saying that I need some PG hug fest either, but the optimistic, joyful, as Cavill even said, it's like I feel like that is the way to go with him. And I think there was a little glimmer of that in the 2017 Justice League.
Lauer, as a veteran comic book reader, it's fair to say that you've read Batman comics by writers that you didn't enjoy, right?
Yes.
That their take didn't resonate with you.
Yeah.
But that doesn't shun you away from from reading their stuff in the future. Like Batman Reptilian, we did not like that book.
We did not like that book.
That does not mean we don't like Enos's work.
Exactly.
That just style didn't resonate with us, and that's really what it is. And but I say that as someone who didn't mind the take, but I understand why the studio would want to go forward. And to me, I see this as a Halloween 2018 situation. We'll see what happens after the Flash, but I kind of can see them. Let's just ignore BVS Justice and the Justice Leagues, and let's make a straight up sequel to Man of Steel. The way Halloween 2018 ignored Halloween 2, Rob Zombie's timelines, the Thorn timeline, and just made a direct sequel to John Carpenter's Halloween. I feel like this is a similar situation. And, if you want to just call the movie Superman, again, like I was speaking with Aaron Cajanto and Carlos from the Nerd Room about this on Twitter a little bit. You've got Halloween 2018, you've got Scream 5, which is essentially just titled Scream. No one's going to get confused anymore. This is the norm. Just call it Superman. No one's going to think it has anything to do with Richard Donner's movie. It's just that's what it is. It's a movie about Superman. You can call it Superman. No one's getting the Batman confused with Batman 89. Yeah. It's fine. No one cares about the title of the movie to begin with. It's just something that you use to identify. Like it's not really that big of a deal. As long as the movie's good, no one's going to care about the title.
I think I chimed into Carlos there and I said, I know, Batman's friend, Superman. There you go. They need that Batman title in there, right? Need the Batman's name in there.
Get in there. Batman gets people in the seats.
Oh God, that would piss so many people off.
Pennyworth, the story of Batman's butler.
Yeah.
Which is a fantastic show, by the way, but that's a completely
Have you been watching it? I've got to watch it. It's on HBO Max now.
I started watching it again.
It's good?
I mean, it's Sean Pertwee's
Alfred. I know, that's why I was so just like timid to step into it. I was like, it's the Gotham people, and you all know how I feel about that show.
Favorite show of all time, more than Stargirl.
But I do. I don't know why. I liked his interpretation. I like that version of Alfred. It's one of the best things about Gotham.
I have
and
to
then
agree.
This is the prequel to that, and it's very much along the lines of the Alfred who was in MI6 or whatever he was. I forget. Mm-hmm. Part of the English Royal Navy or Army, whatever. It's that guy, and you're learning about him and how he
Bond,
what he did.
Alfred Bond.
Yeah, it's very much that character. how he meets Batman's grandfather, not Thomas, but the grandfather. Is all of that?
Is it Richard?
And it's very, very, very cool. Yeah.
Okay.
So it's
Good
very,
old
very
Dick
cool.
Wayne.
Yep, Dick Wayne.
It's very, very cool. It's very, very cool show. So if you guys, once you guys start watching it, we could talk about it a little more. But if you start watching it, I don't know if you're going to.
It's on the queue.
All right.
It's tough, man. You know, I got to say, it's tough to watch all this stuff anyway. It used to be a breeze back when we just had like the Arrow and Flash. Now it's really tough to watch all these shows.
It's true. It's a very good point. There's a lot of
I get overwhelmed, so then I go back and just rewatch episodes of South Park.
And then you got like people like Eric who are into other things. Like Eric's watching that dragon thing, and he's watching him and Steve. Him and Steve do the Eric Stuff show on, was it Wednesdays?
Thursdays.
Yeah.
Did you catch Eric? I guess because it was making the rounds. I don't watch Andor, but what are you, guy in Batman '89? Did you see that he was in Andor?
Is he really?
Yeah. He's aged.
I didn't catch it. Now I'm gonna have to go back and watch.
Did you recognize the face flower?
No, not at all.
So someone mentioned it on Twitter and you had to go to IMDb?
Somebody did a side by side, yeah.
I didn't see
that.
Yeah, there you go. There's your little Easter egg. It's all connected
there.
You see? You should watch Star Wars, Pete.
Dana Geek does their weekly reviews of not Dana Geek, CNET does weekly reviews of Andor, and on the bottom they have like all the Easter eggs that you catch in it. So I didn't see that. I didn't catch that one, but I'm gonna check now. I'm gonna go back and check and see if I catch it this time.
I'm Batman.
That's cool. All right, so Lauer mentioned Superman pitches that were going to begin for the second for Man of Steel 2, and they're going to be pitching it to new heads of DCU, the DCU.
Wait, hold on. Before we get into this,
yes,
let's give ourselves a pat on the back here because we did something that no other podcast did last week. We covered a story that no one touched on. Okay,
that's true
because we actually report the news instead of ignoring it. We covered this Safran story a week before it was a big deal. We mentioned he turned down the role a week before he accepted it.
Yes.
And I'm just saying, a lot of you guys are listening to the wrong shows. Just point blank in the end. You know, you may not like what we say, but we're saying the truth.
It's true.
And I think that's important. And people who ignore the truth and who are reporting falsehoods are doing their audience a disservice. So it's up to you guys to not listen to that crap. And a lot of you do. And we put a lot of hard work into this show to report actual facts. Okay?
Whoa.
Like, this is something I take very seriously. I don't do this. I do this with no spare time, and I try to do it. We do it at a very diligent level. And a lot of people half-ass it. This is a very sensitive topic for me. And we did something that no one talked about, covered, or knew existed. And it came right from the Hollywood Reporter. It didn't come from some idiot on YouTube. It didn't come from some stupid handle with an egg and 17 numbers after his name. You know where this came from, and you know who gave it to you first. So take that to the bank. This isn't bullshit. If you're going to play reporter, do it the right way. And we do it the right way. And this isn't a joke. This is serious. We take this stuff seriously.
I totally agree with Pete. When Pete usually sends me the topic. So when I look at a rundown and I pick out the stories, I don't pick them the ones that I like and say, okay, I'm going to do these because I prefer to talk about this stuff. No, I look at it and say, all right, these are the important stories in the space because that's what journalism is. That's what news is. It doesn't matter what you like or what. I'd love to talk about all the happy stuff all the time, but that's not how things work. That's why we talk about the Ezra Miller situation. You know, we put that out there. I like his interpretation of the Flash. I'd like to see him continue on after this film, but I'm honestly no, that's probably not going to happen. So when I see things and Pete sends me stories and I'm like, yeah, this is super important. We have to talk about this. And we did. We were the only that I know people that even mentioned that Safran was involved at this point. So yeah, when we do this and then I read other things, or Pete a lot of times will send me the things that other people are saying, it does kind of get you mad because I'm like, we're kind of fighting.
Why do you listen to them?
Yeah, and
there's fighting. There's no circle jerking on Twitter. Cut it out.
Yeah, we're basically fighting against this machine that just wants to live in this echo chamber of happiness and whatever they want to sell people. That's not news, guys. That's not what you should be in this for. And if you are, I mean, whatever. But Pete and I, we say all the time, we keep it 100 all the time. Our takes are always genuine. The news stories we pull are always genuine. We try not to get stories from bad sources or things that are just put out there for clickbait. You know, we always try and bring it to you guys like that. So yeah, it does get you a little bit upset when you're trying to do it the right way and it doesn't always turn out in your favor. So, Pete,
I had to get that off my chest because there's a lot of bad podcasts out there.
I agree.
And there's a lot of bad podcast hosts who don't pay attention to actually what's really happening. And
I
it
agree.
frustrates me.
So, Lauer, sorry you had to.
No, I don't want to. I don't want to call any specific podcast out, but definitely don't listen to the Batman Book Club.
well,
that guy sucks.
Well, yeah. So, but as Pete meant, now it was kind of weird that we did this story. It was literally like I posted it, and the next day I posted the podcast, and the next day is when the news came out that Gunn and Safran are now heads of DC.
You think
DCU,
one of them heard you guys and they're like, they're onto us. We need to get to it. If so, like that's cool. So. But hey, James, can you just like tweet that out? Tweet out straight out of Gotham or something? You know, just like mad respect, guys. Or the champ, Equali. You know, that'd be great if he tweeted out Equali. Oh man, then you know you made it. Anyways.
Yeah. So the long job that nobody wanted is now filled, guys, by two people. And it's two fantastic people. I don't care if you like James Gunn's movies or his style of film. He does know these characters. He's a comic book guy. He cares about these characters, and it's in a good place. He's the creative guy on one side, and Safran, of course, then is the business guy who has produced films like Shazam, Black Adam that we just saw. He's a producer on Black Adam,
Suicide Squad. So he's worked with Gunn.
Right, the Suicide Squad. So he's these
Aquaman.
two guys.
Your area there, Eric.
Yes.
The entire Conjuring universe. So he already has a connected universe for you.
Yes. So I mean, this is a fantastic pairing,
and he's got a great first name.
Yeah, could be a little more Italian in the back half, but we'll take Peter.
So they're extremely passionate about making this studio the best studio can be. It was also weird too, though, that the day before Gunn released the trailer for Guardian of the Galaxy Holiday Special was the day before as well.
That's his goodbye.
Right? Like that was kind of cool how they did that.
But it was the same day.
Oh, well, yeah. I think
it was
morning.
Like the late morning was the holiday special. And then
I guess that's why they did it so early.
Yeah, I mean, and it's going to be weird too that he'll be head of DC films while Guardians 3 comes out. He'll be doing the press tour for that.
That's going to be brutal for him trying to talk about Marvel and they'll be like, so with DC, are you going to green light the, I don't know. What do you want to, Deep Pull, Crazy Quilt movie? Is Egghead finally going to get his due on HBO Max? You know, I'm talking about Guardians.
A lot of people I've seen and be like, "What, a director?" Like, I don't know if this is the right. To me, this just seems like a man who is progressing in his career. This is a 4-year deal for the both of them. Reportedly, the salary will be between $6 and $8 million for each, which is a great paycheck. So I can't see why anyone would turn this deal down. And it almost, to me, Eric, just to get a little political here, not to be Rick Shue, but it almost seems kind of like a Dick Cheney situation. If you read a few of the articles, Zaslav was kind of talking to them saying, hey, who do you think we should do this? They were kind of doing some referencing, and it almost seems like a Dick Cheney thing where, while they're trying to figure out who's going to be, while Dick was trying to figure out who'd be the vice president, eventually became Dick Cheney.
Yeah.
So it seems a little bit like that situation. But I cannot argue with the success that these two gentlemen have had. I mean, James Gunn, I've been a fan of since, he wrote the Zack Snyder's Dawn of the Dead. I was a big fan of Slither. He produced and I believe wrote part of the Belko Experiment, which I thought was a fabulous movie. I haven't seen that. That fits in his like horror realm. He does really good comic book stuff. You see, he can do more adult themed comic book stuff with the Suicide Squad and Peacemaker. And, I don't know how as a creative person, you can't be excited for that. I mean, the man clearly knows how to work in different genres. He clearly he can work in an environment where he has to be tame. He can work in an environment where he's unleashed. And we've mentioned Safran's resume. For those of you who have been begging for a DC connected universe, this seems to me the man to really spearhead this. And, while the rumor going around was Zaslav wanted a Feige, now he's got a two-headed monster. So I don't see a problem with this. These two men can work together, and it'll be interesting to see because, when Safran was promoting the Suicide Squad, he was stressing reboot. So we'll see what they're going to do. We know that Joker and the Batman are out of the shared universe. That was stated. So they are separate, and as well as their respective spinoffs and Penguin and such. So, it seems that we will have, we're still going forward with connected and unconnected films, depending on what the creative vision is behind that particular character's movie. And it's, to me, I've said this from day one, DC is more like walk into a comic shop because I can read regular in continuity Batman messing around with the Justice League, or I can read a Black Label book by Lee Bermejo. And, I can just go there and enjoy that. And it seems to be the best of both worlds. This plan seems to be a little bit more traditional than the previous plan, where it seemed to kind of be more centered around Old Man Keaton and Supergirl. So we'll see what happens. I'm still excited. It's, you got the right two guys for the job, in my opinion. And, according to a few trade reports, give them a year before they really start getting into it. It'll take them about a year to get their slate together and their set of films, because there's a bunch of movies coming out that they had no part of. That was the previous regime's slate of films. So we'll see what they have in store for us. And, I wish them nothing but the best of luck, because their success means our happiness.
Yeah, that also fits with the timeline for the MCU stuff for Gunn to end, right? So it kind of fits with the timeline a year from now, where we can get all of that. He can put all of that behind him and focus solely on DC. They did release a statement, which I will read. Said, "We're honored to be the stewards of these DC characters we loved since we were children. We look forward to collaborating with the most talented writers, directors, and actors in the world to create an integrated, multi-layered universe that still allows for the individual expression of the artists involved. Our commitment to Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, Aquaman, Harley Quinn, and the rest of the DC stable of characters is only equaled by our commitment to the wonder of human possibility these characters represent. We're excited to invigorate the theatrical experience around the world as we tell some of the biggest, most beautiful, and grandest stories ever told." So to that, I want to specifically bring up the characters they mentioned: Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, Aquaman, and Harley Quinn. Now, what do you think of those specific characters mentioned, Lauer? A lot of them are obvious, but the Harley Quinn one, you kind of see how her star has risen, right?
Yeah. I don't know if you can attribute any kind of box office, solely to Harley Quinn. The Trinity are on different layers of, recognition. And then Aquaman had his, Aquaman, Eric, you had your own blockbuster movie that crossed the $1 billion mark. Yeah. And if you guys could see what I'm seeing of this mansion that Eric is recording from, it's
Leia's
impressive.
house is bigger than most people's condos.
Definitely is. And yeah, I just think Harley Quinn, though, is in pop culture, though she has become a very recognizable figure, character. Right. So, and I think Gunn loves that character, was on her show. I really like what he did with her in the Suicide Squad. It is interesting that that's one that they would throw in the mix there. But maybe that just means while we all thought that maybe Margot Robbie's days were limited or numbered in that, with that character, that maybe not so much. Maybe they recast and have somebody else takes a shot at the role now too, which we know Lady Gaga's gonna, but as far as in this continuation in this universe and stuff. So interesting, but not completely out of left field.
To me, the shocking thing is that they mentioned Aquaman before Harley Quinn. I've said it before. Harley Quinn is now on the Mount Rushmore of DC characters. She's right there after Wonder Woman. It's no surprise to me. We've gotten essentially a Harley Quinn trilogy. She's got her own animated show. She's got 2 comic books being published right now. Everyone loves Harley. She has taken the world by storm since BTAS. And we're going to have 2 cinematic Harley Quinns. You've got Robbie and you have Lady Gaga, essentially working together, working at the same time. I don't think this is the last we've seen of Margot Robbie, but I even said it to Eric Davis. I think Harley Quinn's a bigger deal than Aquaman. And if it's not for the pandemic, I think, the box office would have showed that, because Suicide Squad was affected by the pandemic, clearly.
It was.
She's absolutely a huge character. She is. There's no denying it. Since her first appearance, she has exploded on the scene. So I know Aquaman made $1 billion, but I still think that Harley Quinn outranks him these days. The Mount Rushmore of DC is Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman, Harley Quinn. There is no doubt about that. And I've mentioned that numerous times.
Yeah, her escape scene in the Suicide Squad is one of my favorite scenes of a superhero film ever.
She's even a standout of the first film.
Yeah, she is. But that scene is just fantastic. Like, that was so well done. So yeah, she definitely has. It's crazy that she is so popular now. And it's crazy that you see little girls being her for Halloween when you know what the character is in your head. You're kind of like, that doesn't kind of work. But yeah, man, her star has grown so much. So that was a very interesting part of that statement. That's the part that stood out to me the most when I heard it, or when I read it. I was like, wow, they're mentioning her as, being one of the top line. But Pete, you're right. She probably is now on the Mount Rushmore. I can't think of, I probably used to want to push back and say maybe the Flash, but I don't know.
No, I don't think it's even close. I really don't.
I think you're right. David Zaslav also released a statement, so I'll read that as well. He said, DC has among the most entertaining, powerful, and iconic characters in the world, and I'm thrilled to have the singular and complementary talents of James and Peter joining our world-class team and overseeing the creative direction of the storied DC universe. Their decades of experience in filmmaking, close ties to the creative community, and proven track record thrilling superhero fans around the globe make them uniquely qualified to develop a long-term strategy across film, TV, and animation, and take this iconic franchise to the next level of creative storytelling. So,
in very small print, not many people saw, he said, "We're also going to be shelving another movie to be continued." So I'm waiting for that one, because I think, as we all have gotten familiar, there are no waves to ride like DC news. Like, this is a big one. This is fun, but something is going to wipe us out next week, the week after. This isn't the dawn. The dawn's not here.
Waves eventually crest, right?
Uh-huh.
You have like the highs and lows, and
yeah,
they've been doing that to us for a while, for the last few months, like since this transition to Discovery has come on.
I feel like we're close to being like, we're good, but I feel like there's going to be one more that's going to really knock us in some fashion.
Well, at least we know right now it won't be like Blue Beetle or something like that. Those films, I think, are pretty much solidly coming out. But we have heard things. There's been news that maybe The Flash now gets pushed back again to 2024. I've heard that being kicked around because of the budgetary reasons of promoting it. I would hate that, because that's like the movie everyone's kind of waiting to see for the longest time now. Everyone's got like, oh, we want to see The Flash and we want to see Keaton back. And,
as long as you haven't been recast in Aquaman 2, I'll survive. I'll be fine.
I have not.
Okay.
The shoot was very, very difficult. But I'm okay. And
crazy tide.
Whew, you have no idea. But guys, if you want to read more into the Gunn, Safran, what's going on at DC now, the DCU, the official name of DC is the DCU.
Aren't you glad we got an official title now?
I was hoping they would have just gone with DC Films, but the fact that it is a universe, it makes sense. So,
well, it is DC, isn't it? DC. I mean, it's DC Studios and it's the DCU, but it's nice to have an official title. I guess we can actually say there was an era of the DCEU, and this isn't now the new era.
Yes. So it's been fun. But guys, check out all the articles. As you know, as always, we link them to our social media handle and on the Facebook group. You can check them out, find all the articles there. So something we know that is coming in DC will not get shelved, Lauer. This we know. As you mentioned already, they've cast Lady Gaga's Harley Quinn. I'm talking about the Joker sequel, which will begin filming in LA next month. So November, I'm assuming. It's going to start in November. And in November, start of December. Scenes of shot on location in New York, LA, sound stages. So there we go.
I think this is great news, first of all, because sound stages mean no set leaks. And you all know I hate set leaks, Kowalski. I'm very excited for that. There were some they did a lot of on-location shooting for the first film. I am really excited for this movie. This movie gets me so hyped because of just how different it's going to be, and I'm glad things are going to get rolling with this. We've mentioned Lady Gaga's Harley. The fact that it's a musical, I think that's brave and bold. And again, like Todd Phillips, who has close ties with Peter Safran, that's good for Todd. That's good for, as long as Joker 2 is good, and it's, if it makes some money, I guarantee we're going to see a Joker 3. So I hope this movie continues rolling along, just the positive vibes from the first film, which is funny because it's such a negative film, to be brutally honest with you.
Say that, yeah.
But I'm really excited. I hope it's I hope it's different, because I don't know if I can go through another dark turn like that. But the first one's so unique. I'm very excited for this because it seems even more unique than the last.
Yeah, Lauer, Pete and I have talked about our expectations for this. What about you? What are your expectations for the Joker sequel?
I'm not a musical fan.
Right.
Like, out the gate, I'm just not a musical fan. It's just not my style.
Isn't Hocus Pocus a musical?
No. And true fans of Hocus Pocus, Peter, would know that.
I'm not. I've never actually seen it.
I know. Whenever you come and visit me, we're going to sit down and watch Hocus Pocus together. So prepare yourself. And
please, Mara save me.
Yeah. No, she'll be there too. She loves it as much as I do. But I'm not a musical fan, but I mean, Lady Gaga being included definitely was like awesome. The first movie I thought was great, so I would be in on a sequel no matter what kind of genre, so it's just, okay, it's intriguing, and I will be there opening weekend when it does release. I hope with them shooting so soon that means that they do something in the style how they did the camera test for Joaquin for the first one, that they do something like that with Gaga. Because one, that beats the fools trying to do the set leaks, spy pics. And it also, like, that was such a fun, just small appetizer of the vibe that they were going for. I can't tell you how many times I watched that because it was so short anyway, but it was just really cool and moody, and everything. And I'd be like, man, I hope they come up with something cool and creative for Gaga, because we'd all be, we're 2 years away, but we'd all be like,
go for Gaga.
Yeah. Yeah, Gaga.
How long have you waited to say that, Pete? How long have you had that one?
He was waiting for me to shut up, and I never do.
Head, to be honest.
But I think it's interesting in the article that you guys shared with me that, it was the cinematographer Lawrence Shear.
Yeah, Lawrence
Shear.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Which he did the first one. He's done he's done good work. But
did Black Adam.
Yeah, exactly. It's all connected. He the article mentioned a little bit more. I'd never seen this before anywhere else, that we know that it says that, Arthur is in Arkham Asylum, which it was Arkham Hospital in the first one. He's in Arkham Asylum because he caused the riots. And I'm like, see, that's a little bit of my hesitancy of the brilliance of the first one, is that it doesn't tell you what to think. And a sequel will influence you on which way to lean with the first one. And if that's really how it is, it's almost like, okay, so you've just decided for me that it is that stuff really did happen. You know what I mean? Who knows? Didn't read the script. It's just that line in the article was interesting. It's like, okay, so that's picking a lane.
Yeah, I mean,
stay in your lane.
Yeah, they definitely do give you insight. Yeah, they definitely do give you that insight. So you do have a little bit more of an idea of where this movie is going to take place.
Mm-hmm.
But are there any musicals that you do like, Lauer? Or do you
South
hate all
Park,
of them?
Bigger, Longer, and Uncut.
What about
Good
Sweeney
one.
Todd?
Sweeney Todd's okay. I don't really revisit that. I think I watched it twice when it came out, and I haven't seen it since. Wizard of Oz.
Okay.
Love Wizard of Oz, and I'm sure. I mean, there's some Disney, animated movies
most
that have
Disney
a lot of
animated
singing
movies,
that I do like. So Frozen's a musical. I really like Frozen.
Right.
Yeah. So it's not like I'm completely against. Just I usually don't seek out. So did
you see the one with Hugh Jackman, Greatest Showman?
Mm-mm. Didn't much Greatest Showman.
No,
Les
those
Mis,
are like more.
I didn't.
Yeah.
I haven't seen Chicago or Moulin Rouge because I'm like, nope, not my thing.
The stage, the ones that could be plays, Lauer's like, yeah,
Didn't
those are
Eddie Murphy do one with like Beyonce?
Yes, Dreamgirls.
Yeah, I remember that. That was cool.
I didn't watch that one.
So like, it's not something I seek out, but if it's something that sparks my interest, like after I saw Sweeney Todd, I kind of gave them a little bit more of a chance.
I remember I did
it's
like
that
Sweeney
thing.
Todd. I just never go back to it.
That one always pops in my head first when I think of musicals is Sweeney Todd.
I think of Andy Bernard on The Office when he sings it. He's like, the demon barber of Fleet Street. I don't know if you ever saw that episode.
Yeah.
Well, guys, it's on HBO Max this month, Sweeney Todd. So if you want to watch it, you can.
I want to get it in on my Scare-a-thon, to be honest with you.
I've had the DVD sitting 3.5 feet away from my TV for 10 years. And yet it's like, oh, it's finally on HBO Max. I'll watch it now.
Watch it now, because in a year I don't think HBO Max is going to exist.
It's true.
It will. It'll
just be something else.
It'll be HBO Discovery or HBO. It'll be something like that.
Just call
it won't be
Westeros.
Yeah, might as well.
Sorry, that's a dragon term, Pete. I know that's not
that's a House of the Dragon. That's a Game of Thrones.
Oh, okay.
Sorry, didn't mean to confuse you.
I'm not confused. Just didn't. I was like, moving on.
Well, HBO Max is here, and we are getting an Arkham Asylum show, which we know, and we now have a showrunner, Antonio Campos, who is did the Staircase originally, created the Staircase. I can't talk. He is going to be the showrunner of the Arkham Asylum show. Now, the interesting thing about this article in Variety, I had assumed that the other show that they were doing, the Gotham PD series, was kind of this was gonna become that, but that's not the case. There's been
kind of conflicting reports that they morphed into one show at one point,
but no, they're both being still in development.
Cool.
The other one's still in development.
So we'll see what happens with this. I was really excited when they mentioned Terrence Winter. He was attached to one show. It seems like they're trying to get this off the ground. I don't know if it will. This seems like just one of those projects that Warner Brothers announces, and if it happens, it happens, and if it doesn't, it doesn't. We'll see what happens. Right now, my main concern is the Penguin show. That's the one spinoff from the Batman that seems to be moving forward.
Surprise!
So, yeah. That one's definitely coming. While it's nice to hear, I mean, some people like, what was it? What was that show he just did? This guy, The
Staircase.
Everyone seems to love that. So I know Javi and Bill were very high on it. I personally haven't seen it because it doesn't involve a comic book character, as you all know. But if it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, I got more than enough TV to watch.
It's kind of being said that it's a haunted house series in Arkham. Sign me up.
Yeah.
Holy hell, that sounds cool. Awesome. So if they can do that, that'd be fantastic.
But if it doesn't get made, I'm not losing sleep over
exactly.
it, to be honest with you.
The possibilities with doing a show in Arkham are just
it could be great.
Crazy. It could be fantastic.
And Batman's C/D list villains kind of fit that mold. They're probably not going to get a theatrical release.
No.
And but at the same time, we have heard the name Professor Pig thrown out. So to me, he seems more like a character built for the small screen than the big screen.
Yeah.
But the fact that name was thrown out there in general is just impressive. You're looking at the catalog, you're seeing what you can do. There's other characters out there, this way they're not retreading the same thing over and over again. So we'll see what happens, but
well, if it's a universe like they're building around the Batman, then all of those characters are possibilities to be on a show and show up in a film. You can't keep it restricted to just the one area.
Yeah.
So it might be cool to introduce them in this show and then have them, or vice versa, introduce them in the movie.
Maybe they get introduced in Penguin and then they, essentially spin off into this Arkham show,
I want to see a showdown Penguin versus Egghead.
You love this Egghead guy.
I love Egghead. Yeah.
How many episodes in 66 was he actually in?
3.
Yeah.
That's the kind of mark that Vincent Price leaves, though.
The great Vincent Price. Yeah.
Did you buy the action figure yet?
I haven't found it. I'm looking. Steve Helms probably got 17 versions of it.
That's funny how Steve gets them before you, and then you get them before everybody else.
Yeah.
Steve's the master. Talk to him, when you talk to him, he'll tell you he lives in this town called Lufkin, which is really small, and they only have
little small part Texas. Steve Helms talking like this.
Yeah. And he'll tell you that they only have these certain stores in the area. So he's probably the only one who buys these characters and these figures.
Which is funny because I just got the 66 Bat Cycle, and you know where it's shipped from?
Texas.
Indianapolis, Indiana.
Hey!
So I'm like, no wonder why Lara gets all these first. They ship from Indiana.
Yeah.
So keeping along with...
boys.
So keeping up with the HBO Max theme that we're in right now, let's go to another show that was in development, and now they're switching gears. So Greg Berlanti's Green Lantern was first being developed by writer Seth Grahame-Smith and was going to focus on Guy Gardner and Alan Scott's character on Green Lanterns. That is no longer the case. They are switching gears now, and they're going to be doing a show around Jon Stewart's character, Jon Stewart's Green Lantern character. So there we have that. So what do you got? First, Laura, I'll go to you. What do you think about the shift, and does it matter to you?
I think this show for many of us is very like, yeah, we'll see. I think, and that's not to be negative. It's just it's long been in development now, and shifts and stuff like that. Hal Jordan's my favorite Green Lantern, but I think mine and Pete's generation, as well as the generation behind us, Jon Stewart's their Green Lantern. And I love Jon Stewart as well. So I'm definitely like, awesome. Great. I hope it comes to fruition. Who knows though? Cause I think also in the article from Hollywood Reporter talking about it, they were talking about the budget and stuff for it. And man, Zaslav's not a guy that wants to give a lot of money to some TV programs right now. So that makes it a little more like, okay, we'll see. But the whole idea itself of, Jon Stewart being the front and center still leaves it open that you can have Hal as a supporting character and Guy as a supporting character. Cause I want to see that bowl cut in live action for sure. But the main headline of Jon Stewart, that's cool.
Yeah.
For me, I actually think this is a good move. Teaming Alan Scott with Guy Gardner seems very out of character. Alan Scott is not a member of the Green Lantern Corps. He is his own Green Lantern. He's a different type of Green Lantern. So pairing them together always seemed a bit odd for me. I did find it interesting that this is also going to get the Batgirl treatment. The 8 episodes written by Seth Grahame-Smith are going to get the tax write-off treatment, and so we'll never see anything from those 8 episodes. I found that very interesting. So that is part of that whole budget cut thing.
Mm-hmm.
Centering around Jon Stewart makes sense. Like Lauer said, he is the Green Lantern of our generation. My favorite Green Lantern is Kyle Rayner. But like, as I said earlier, like the Green Lantern Corps is essentially space police. So if Jon Stewart's there, I'm assuming everyone else is as well. And for those of you like Daddy Batman who have been urging for anything Green Lantern, I suggest you start watching Stargirl. Jade has a huge part in that, as well as the JSA. She has had a huge focus the last 2 episodes featuring titled, I believe, Infinity Inc. There's been some ring slinging there, as well as her brother Todd Obsidian. So they're leaning heavily into the Alan Scott Green Lantern stuff there. Check that out. This seems like a better idea than the previous version.
I agree.
And, when you talk about these things and you talk about, they had one plan and now they're doing another, this seems to be more of a traditional plan. And, I supported the old plan because it was better than nothing. And that's what I was getting at the time. But this seems to be a plan I like a lot more.
What's the plan?
We'll see if this don't get me started. We will see where this goes. I'm waiting to see on all these projects, as I am with any project. But like I literally said the last segment, I've got so many shows to watch, including Batman's Butler Pennyworth, that I've got more than enough to hold me over. And there's previous shows that I want to give rewatches to. Like, I'm not complaining. I don't want to sound like Veruca here. I don't need something new and shiny. I got a lot of stuff to watch. So I can't really complain. Like, DC has not been giving me bare bones over the past couple of years, as a lot of people make it out to be. There's a lot of content out there to watch. If you're just not happy with what they're making, then I'm sorry for that. But it's not like you're getting scraps here.
My computer right here has like 6 Peter buttons. Which one to push, and I just know what's the plan is one of them. It's right there. Pete, what you got? What's the plan?
So just for what Pete was talking about the budget, like it's going to be a write-off, a write-down. Sorry, that this is called a write-down in this industry, but the estimated budget for this show was in the 120 million range, and just by comparison, House of the Dragon, which we just watched season 1 of, which was fantastic, cost less than 200 million. So, I mean, you kind of see just the amount of money this show would have taken to make, because probably it's definitely heavy CGI related stuff.
Don't you think that House of the Dragon is a little bit more of a safe bet? than Green Lantern is.
To make money, yes.
Yeah, like you could see why they want to spend that type of cash on that show.
Yes.
Like, I don't know if anyone still thinks of Ryan Reynolds' Green Lantern when they're talking about Green Lanterns. I can't imagine that movie still having this huge impact on whatever they do forward because
Twitter's
been so
not
long.
real. So yes,
I know that. Like,
Twitter,
I don't think anyone remembers that movie. So I think starting a Green Lantern, while it can, I understand the risk involved. Mm-hmm. I just hope they're not constantly being like, well, you know, Reynolds Green Lantern. Like, it's been so long since then. You guys gotta, at some point, you're gonna have to move on with this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I mean, just be happy that you didn't hear it got completely canceled. Like, that's what I would be like. All right, it's still something, you know, in development.
Just like Arkham.
Right, like it's not canceled. They're still planning on doing it. They just, again, we said this from the beginning. Clearly, what was going on under AT&T was cost them so much money. They're in a recovery period where they're trying to get that back. That's what businesses do. So this is just another sign of that. I know it sucks. I know we all want these things to come and happen. We've been told they're coming. Yes, we're all fans. We like these characters. We want to see them, these rumored things happen on screen. That's not how business works. Yeah. So just kind of hang on, guys. Wait, it is coming. It's changing a little bit. But if you like these two guys were saying, just because it's Jon Stewart doesn't mean the other guys won't show up. So you don't know what's going to go on going forward with this, but it's still coming. Just hold your breath a little bit longer.
I said this on Twitter. I was like, you know what? Just take the Training Day script, tweak it a little bit for Hal and Sinestro, get a couple aliens from Star Wars, and just make a movie already. Like, you know, like it's already there for you, to be brutally honest.
Oh, no. If Denzel's a little bit too old now to play Jon Stewart. But
well, no. I mean, you could if you do it. I mean, essentially Denzel's character is like the Sinestro, and then Ethan Hawke would be Hal Jordan.
Just get Jay Farrow to do a Denzel impression in the Green Lantern. There you go. That's the solution.
Denzel, he make a hell of an animated Jon Stewart. I'll tell you that much.
Mm-hmm.
Or maybe John David Washington.
He's a great actor. I remember when Tyrese went to Warner Brothers to talk about it back in the day.
Oh God, I'm glad that didn't happen.
Well, you love the Fast and Furious movies.
Yeah, but he fits in that cast because it's just a crazy group of people.
Too furious.
Right. Him carrying something, I'd have problems with.
He was great in Baby Boy.
Baby Boy.
Yeah, but again, the cast around him was better. Like you had Ving Rhames.
He got choked out by Ving Rhames.
I was gonna say, give me Ving Rhames, James.
Right?
Ving Rhames as Kilowog would be dope.
Oh yeah,
he would be
great.
Yeah.
Michael
Clark Duncan.
Keith David. He just recently popped up on Stargirl as Bones, which blew my mind. I couldn't believe that they did that on the CW. Again, nobody watches Stargirl apparently, so you guys wouldn't have any idea.
So let's do another bit of DC news. One last thing, because this is going to make Pete very happy.
Oh, yeah. I already know where this is going, baby.
I don't.
I already know.
So we thought we had seen the end of Javisha Leslie's Batwoman, but we have not.
Goodness. My goodness.
She will be in season 9, the final season of The Flash.
Somebody fan Pete right now. He's overheating.
We will see her back. She's coming back. We do not, again, like we say all the time, we don't know how many episodes. We don't know what her role is going to be, a larger role, but she's coming back, guys, for season 9 of The Flash. So if you guys are fans of her character, you were fans of Batwoman, you'll get another chance to see her. So Pete, I'm going to let you run with this one because this is all you, baby. Go ahead. This is all you.
Suck it, haters. The Queen of Gotham is back. I am really pumped for this. I love season 3 of Batwoman. None of you losers gave it a shot, and you did yourself a disservice, but it's not going to stop her. She's back, and she's going to kick ass, and I can't wait to see her on screen next to the Flash. I'm so pumped for this. We're going out in style.
Yeah, man. I'm actually going to watch season 9. I was thinking about it, reading this article, and I said, you know what? I liked the show in the beginning. It jumped the shark for me a little early, but
watch the season with Mirror Master. It's really good. They did a gender swap, but it's still really good.
I am going to watch season 9, and I'm hoping it's good. Maybe I'll catch up. Pete, if you have like a list of key episodes you want to throw at me from the other seasons to kind of catch up, I'll do that.
I could do that. There's one half of one season that's not really that good, but it picks up really strong in the second half.
So, but Laura, you want to get on this train with us? You want to watch season 9 of The Flash?
Oh, hey, wording, Eric, come on. My goodness.
You want to get on the E train like Sally?
Whoa, hey now.
You're an all-star. Get
Yeah.
your game on. Go play.
I'm very happy for Peter. I haven't watched The Flash in years. I did watch
Me neither.
Javisha Leslie's first episode on Batwoman because Peter.
That's season 2. That's horrible.
Peter talked me into it. But here's the thing. I only watched one episode of the first season, and I already said this is a massive improvement. But never went back
I
to
agree.
it. So I just don't have much to say other than Pete is very, very excited, and I'm very happy for Peter Vera. Peter
I
Vera.
mean, oh God, Batwoman. I am so happy with what they did in season 3, and I'm bummed out that they didn't continue because they left it on a cool cliffhanger for all of you that didn't watch. And I'm just happy she's getting, again, like we all love comic book redemption. We love it when these characters come back and actors and actresses come back and get another shot. So I'm all for it. And I'm excited to see what has happened in the time that has passed. I'm curious as what they're doing with the character. Everything seems to remain in secrecy, and that's fine because I like to be spoiler free. That's the way to be. And just bring it on. I hope the Flash goes out in a bang because let's be honest, who would have thought we would have got 9 seasons out of the show? Beyond fair, it's the longest running CW show to date. It's surpassed Arrow. We've seen shows come and go. Supergirl ended at 6. Black Lightning, which I think you all should watch because I really loved it.
I watched
especially Eric. I think you really get into the.
I did watch
elements.
it. I liked it.
It only lasted 4 seasons. The one they did on the what was the little girl's name? They just did one. It only lasted 1 season. Naomi. So the CW is coming to an end. It seems to be migrating over to HBO Max or whatever that platform will be in the future, and that's probably where Superman and Lois and Stargirl will head. But 9 seasons is nothing to laugh at. That's a very successful run.
Yeah,
for a lot of people, this is their Flash, and that's not to say it's perfect. It has its moments where I don't enjoy it. The whole super team aspect is not my favorite aspect, and certain characters like Cisco have come and gone, and like any other TV show. But again, 9 seasons, it's an amazing triumph, really is. So I hope the finale is everything I want it to be and more.
Yeah, I mean, again, Arrow's the only CW show I've watched from beginning to end, so you could take that for what it's worth. But The Flash, I want to say the first 4 seasons, I really enjoyed it. It was one of my favorite shows. It was appointment viewing. I'd watch it every week. Now, I just kind of once it jumped the shark.
Even Legends had a good run.
It's kind of like, but I do, for what the CW has done for the brand, I think in a larger scale is fantastic. I mean, it gave a character like Green Arrow a whole new fan base. Right?
I agree.
Yeah, so you have like
totally
these.
Agree.
Yeah, so you have what it's done for the DC brand, and for a while there, it was the best thing DC was pumping out, at least in a visual medium. Then yeah, like it's been great. So the fact that this show is going to be on for 9 seasons, and people still love it, I mean, it's great. So I'm happy, Pete, that you're getting, because you love both shows and you're getting Batwoman back. I'm happy that this is this is happening for you, and you'll get to see Batwoman again on screen.
Yeah, cool. This is cool. This is really cool. And also like you got to give credit to CW because it did for a while. It was scratching that Superman itch. We didn't have a whole lot of Superman content, and to get him on a weekly basis, I know that CW takes some weird breaks at times, but it's nice to get that. Superman's found a home in a small screen.
That's for sweeps.
And it seems to be a place where he's always thrived. So
Lauer could talk about sweeps if he wants, but that's why they do that stuff.
He's a big sweep guy. He's a big Astro fan.
Well, he's in the TV world, so he could speak to the importance of sweeps if he wants to.
It's a little old now. Like losing to the streaming age that now sweeps. I don't know. It's a little bit of a bygone era, but there's still importance to it.
Yeah. So, all right. So one thing that's important for all of us, or was this year actually, was the release of the Batman.
Yeah.
The coolest thing about it was I finally got to meet Lauer in person. So
that is the coolest thing that you've ever gotten to do in your life. You finally met me.
It's up there.
And I said, "You're skinny."
Yeah, and I've put on a little bit of that weight back since then.
Haven't we all?
The coolest thing for me was I got to actually watch Lauer drink Mountain Dew in person.
It was a sight, wasn't it?
It was.
And
I've
electric
never seen
lemonade.
anyone suck a straw like that.
I was gonna say also, and everybody else slamming back beers and hard drinks, and I go up with my fruity frou demand.
His
Give me my electric lemonade. I want more.
I'm like, what is that? He's like, it's like blue Gatorade with vodka. I was like, sounds like jungle juice.
Shout out to Austin.
Yes.
Thanks, Austin, for that. But then what happened?
That was awesome.
Everybody saw the guy at the Batman book club drinking it, so they all ordered one too. So they made a lot of money that night. You're welcome.
And they would have made more if they stayed open, but
Exactly.
their stupid rules made them close.
But anyways.
Yeah. What the hell? Texas people in Texas, they don't drink like they do on the East Coast. They just pound their Miller Lights, apparently.
Yeah.
Well, I'm a bourbon drinker now in life.
Whoa, classic.
If they had a version of the electric lemonade with bourbon, I might have tried that down.
Or you could just done shots like I was doing.
Yeah, that's true. We could have just done
I was
that.
like, give me some brown liquor, please. I got to make up for Lauer.
I think I sent you guys. It was like last month or the month before that Mira and I went out to eat somewhere and we looked at the drink list and they had electric lemonade as an option.
You did.
And I about shit myself. And I was like, I want one now. And it was, took me back.
Did it bring back
Great.
memories?
It
Yes,
did.
It took you back.
Of a jam-packed hotel lobby with a, I guess, bar serving us electric lemonades.
It was. And then I came back from 7-Eleven after the Mavs game with like a 30-pack. I was like, we gotta drink some beer.
That was one night. The other night he came back with boudin sausage in his pockets. What a weekend. We should just do a let's look back episode somewhere. let's take everybody through that weekend.
And the first
my
time
brother
Lauer
ate like 8 bowls of gumbo.
Oh my god, he was a machine.
And the first time Lauer meets me, where was I? I was sitting at that bar.
Yeah.
When you walked in the door.
Closed by himself. The champion of Long Island.
Seriously, I was like, unbelievable. First time
He closed it down. That's how he does it.
Yeah, it was like
crazy.
you had to have a special meet and greet scheduled to get beyond the rope to meet him at the bar.
Yeah,
it's fancy.
That's what it's like. Even
Atlantean currency goes a long way.
even in Texas, I'm known. It's crazy. Anyway, but one of the best parts, besides we all love the movie, so it is a great movie. But one of the best things was Paul Dano's interpretation of the Riddler. And then we found out a little bit after that he was going to be developing a comic, which is now out. I have not read it yet. Have you guys read it?
Yes.
Yes, okay. We have. In fact, we're going to be talking about it tomorrow as we record our monthly recap of the Batman Book Club. So I don't want to do too many spoilers, but it was very interesting. We posted a clip on it on Straight Outta Gotham as we always do. Matt Reeves was actually the one to get the ball rolling on this. Dano, he did his homework. He says he does a little bit of backstory on his own about his characters that he plays. And, he was telling Matt Reeves about it, not thinking anything of it. And Reeves pitched the idea to Jim Lee, and that's how it got started. So that's pretty fascinating how all branches of DC seem to be working together. And if there's a good idea, it seems to be supported throughout the company. And that's what I found most interesting, that, actor came up with it, director was very interested in it, and he pitched it to the comic book publisher. So bravo to all involved, because I read book 1 and I very much enjoyed it.
And fun fact, he pronounces his last name Dano.
Paul Dano.
The more you know, right? Because I could have swore I'd seen him on talk shows and he was always called Dano. And yeah, he did I forget which one it is. GQ? They do, actors who do like to talk about their most influential roles videos.
Yes.
Those are really fun and really cool to watch. And yeah, his was dropped recently. He talked about the Riddler and he said, I'm Paul Dano. I was like, what? Excuse me? Did you know you mispronounced your last name, sir?
It's interesting when a comic book gets a trailer. That seems to be happening a lot more these days, but they're still few and far between. So when that happens even on social media, it gets my interest. Marvel just recently did one for Deadly Neighborhood Spider-Man, a sort of Halloween themed book that came out issue 1 this month. So that also got a trailer. I posted that trailer on Italians for Spidey. Make sure you check that out. That's on Twitter. It just kind of gets the hype engine going, because if you're going to make a trailer for a comic book, you've got to be really confident in that story, and I think it's worth checking out.
Me too.
So without giving anything away, what is like? Can you tell us anything about it, or
you get?
It's an origin.
It's where you see with him is his daily life.
Okay.
Prior to becoming the Riddler.
Okay. All right.
Seeds are planted, and I think they're done very well.
Adult life. This isn't like, he was a kid and blah, blah, blah. Because we kind of got that in the prequel book that they did, like the junior novel. So this, yeah, it's not long before the Batman, but it's like his daily life. So, and I'll shut
Right,
up.
and it's a 6-issue limited
Bi-monthly,
series,
yeah.
right, and it's going to be it's under the Black Label
Yep.
heading, right? So
I will say that the expansion of the Batman universe has been done pretty well. Ryan mentioned the what was it? What's the name of that the YA novel that just came out? You were just talking the hardcover, the small book.
Yeah, it was just like the Batman. I think
forget the
just a
title of
junior
that.
novel.
Yeah.
If you
Yeah.
keep talking,
That was
Google
done very
will tell
well.
me.
This is written really well. You know, you got the movie itself. You're getting the expanded Penguin series. So you know, they have a lot of faith in what Reeves is doing because you know they're really pumping it out.
Oh, it's just
And,
like before the Batman, an original movie novel.
That was good. That was very good. You know, they're pumping this stuff out, and they have a lot of faith in what Reeves is doing. And you know, as you know, we're all primarily Batman First fans here. Really good stuff. Like I can't complain with this, you know, isolated universe. I think they're going about it the right way. You know, some people want to complain about the aesthetic, but I got no issue with any of that. I'm really enjoying the ride right now. Like as a Batman fan, we're riding high, guys. We really are. There's a lot of great Batman stuff out there, and this is probably one of the best examples of it.
yeah, I'm going to read this comic. So
one more time.
I think
that tape.
I think Wayne Campbell said it best. Excuse me, baking powder.
I am definitely going to read this one.
We're going to have to have Eric on a show.
That'd be
talk
awesome.
About it loud.
Yeah, he needs to read
We haven't
more
done
Batman
that since
books.
the Future State days, right?
Yeah.
No, we talked the Gotham Noir. Ed Brubaker.
Well, you and I,
us?
yes.
Mhm.
No.
The
Me
three of
and
us.
and
Okay.
Lauer did.
That'd be
Yeah,
awesome.
the trifecta.
Mark it on your
Aquaman
calendar
and his jesters.
in 1 year.
Yeah, we did talk Gotham Noir, which was fantastic. So anyway,
I love it when Eric reads. It actually kind of gets
Comics.
It kind of turns me on.
When he
you
reads
make
comics.
it sound like
Eric
I never
reads.
read.
No, Eric reads, but it's usually like the dictionary.
I was gonna say, yeah.
or
Law
like
books.
you know he reads like historical documents, the Bible, the 10 Commandments, stuff like that. You know, like
I read a
adult
lot of
reading.
sports. Yeah, I read a lot of sports biographies. I'll say that.
Mike Lupica.
Like I read The Goat, Jim Gray's The Goat, which was good.
But we'll take
Jim.
We'll take what we can get, Eric. And yeah, if you can hop in on this,
I gotta tell you guys all the time, it's intimidating to start reading it's intimidating to start reading comics because I just don't know where to begin now. I'm like,
Right
where
here.
do I?
The Riddler, year one, book one.
Right.
You have the
This
greatest
was-
references in the world. What do you mean just ask us?
This is perfect. Like this is a first issue, start from the beginning, so I could do.
You can do it. I believe in you.
Yeah,
right,
I do
so
too. I think you can do this.
Let's do a couple Marvel tidbits, news stories, and then we can put a wrap on this one. So we all were pretty happy when we heard that Hugh Jackman was going to be coming back to play Wolverine in Deadpool 3. At least I was.
Peter wasn't.
That's not true. That's not true.
No, I believe you were angry. That was one of your buttons.
No.
Okay.
No, that's not true at all. Don't pay me out.
We're creating buttons. We're creating buttons now. Live action.
There we go.
All right. So there's a little bit of a backstory to this, and in a recent Variety interview with Hugh Jackman, I believe it was Variety, they're talking about how this came to be. It's a whole big interview with Hugh Jackman about his new movie coming out, plus the return to playing Wolverine, which is the character that basically made him a Hollywood star. This is the reason why he started getting roles, and he talks about that and how important that is to him. But how this came to be was when Disney first acquired Fox. Ryan Reynolds was talking to Kevin Feige about exactly like how are we going to go about what's the future for Deadpool? Because as we know, Deadpool is kind of a character that doesn't technically fit into what Pete and I talk about all the time, the Disney model. So he was kind of worried about it, talking to him about it, and the subject came up about putting the Deadpool Wolverine pairing in because Hugh Jackman and Ryan Reynolds are actually such good friends. And then, so now we know what's happening. And they asked Hugh Jackman about it, and he says he thinks he'll be better playing Wolverine now, even after he's played him 19 times before. But he says he knows he's a tortured character. He knows he feels he's very comfortable in his own skin. And he says he himself is more comfortable now in his own skin, even though it's messier. He lost his father. There's a whole big thing that goes on into the the story. But the cool thing I got was he went to a screening of Deadpool, and he was 20 minutes in, and he was like, "Ah, damn it!" He kept picturing him and Ryan Reynolds in like this Nick Nolte for Eddie Murphy 48 Hours type deal. So I kind of feel like that's what we're gonna get in the next film. So knowing that now and reading this interview, guys, like, what do you think of how this happened and what we're possibly gonna get going forward? Brian, go ahead.
I'm excited for it. I'm really intrigued. I've been a Ryan Reynolds fan for 20 years, since he was Van Wilder. He's in something that's got my interest, and I think Deadpool is just the character for him. So
Right.
just the fact of Deadpool 3 is coming, and it's like, yeah, and then throw in how they did it and with Hugh Jackman. I'm very like, I know that they put a kibosh on it with Logan, but I mean, this is something, I don't know, you can totally create where this is going to go, or they will, oh, this is before Logan, whatever. It doesn't matter. It's fine.
Yeah, in reality, just to put in reality, Logan happens in 2029, so
yeah,
we're not even there yet.
There you go. But I mean, I think that's just, it's fun. It's a fun tidbit, which I didn't know until you guys shared the story with me. I hadn't read it yet. Prior to you guys sending me this stuff yesterday, and yeah, I like how Jackman found out and how, he just got a little bit into Deadpool, and he was like, oh my God, this is great. It's wonderful. And the fact that they're going to do something with it, because the gags have been in the first 2 Deadpool movies with Wolverine. Mm-hmm. So it's just nothing but happiness on my end when either one of them would say anything about this project. I'm very excited for it.
Yeah, I'd like to defend myself. I'm tired of, I kind of got a little fed up with legacy casting. I feel like it's kind of a trope that's kind of coming on, and I hate to feel that way with the return of Keaton on the horizon. But it's just something that it seems to be a little annoying to me. But I can't argue with Hugh Jackman coming back. I think it's brilliant. He had me at 48 Hours. I love 48 Hours. I love Another 48 Hours. Mm-hmm. They're 2 of my favorite buddy cop movies alongside Lethal Weapon. Those 4 films as well. So I the energy that these 2 give off is really unmatched because of their friendship. That's why I think this thing is going to work brilliantly. I'm not concerned with continuity. As far as I'm concerned with, this is a different Wolverine. I think this is a different world. So, and like Lauer has said, there have been numerous jokes at Hugh Jackman and Wolverine's expense in the previous 2 Deadpool movies. So I'm pretty sure Hugh Jackman got fed up with it and said, damn it, I'm just going to do this, because he's been taking shots at me for 2 films now. And I'm excited for it. I love Logan. I think Logan is one of the few films that stands up there with The Dark Knight. I think it's that good. I think it looks even better in black and white. Make sure you check that out if you haven't. I'm really excited though. Like, the minor gripe I have aside, I don't know how I can't be excited for this movie. And I love Deadpool 1 a lot, and Deadpool 2 not as much, but it's still a very, very good film. It's very enjoyable. It's worth rewatching numerous times. So I'm really excited to see where this trilogy goes. And I'm excited to see what we have in store with the Disney Deadpool. I imagine he's going to push some buttons. I imagine that they will cross some lines, and I'm all for
it. Sorry.
That's 1 cough, Lauer. Did you count that?
Yes.
Got it.
So, yeah, I mean, everything you guys have said, and I totally agree with Lauer that Deadpool is the character Ryan Reynolds was born to play. So it's perfect casting that movie. I love both of those films, and just adding, and Hugh Jackman, although a lot of people were always like upset, oh, he's too tall, Wolverine's short, and all this other, but now ask anyone if they want anyone else to play that character, and they're like, no. We want him back. We want him to play Wolverine as long as he can. So it's cool we're getting him back. It was cool to listen how this happened. It was cool to see, to read about how they've been talking about it even for long before it was ever even possible. All of that stuff is cool. Their friendship, their chemistry. We're going to see all of that play out now, and it's going to be fun. I know, Pete, you've been worried about what Disney might allow. I honestly believe with this character, they're just going to say, do what you got to do, make the movie you want to make. And
we will
can
see.
take a step
That's
removed and just do full on, 20th Century Fox Studios or whatever. Don't slap
Right.
Disney
I think
on.
it's just 20th century now.
Okay. Yeah, just like that's splashed everywhere so they can keep the Disney label off front and center. And it's
Kind of like how like Shazam is a New Line movie.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, that's true. Same thing with Black Adam. It's a New Line movie.
Yeah.
But it also, like, you think about like Werewolf by Night, how bloody and stuff that is, and that's
I still have to watch that. I haven't got a chance.
that's a DC. That's a Disney title, right? It's on Disney Plus. It's a Disney thing, so they're a little bit more lenient, I think, with things that aren't Disney films.
Man, I was talking, Pete, to your pal Reno. Have you heard of him? He said that in Canada, Barbarian, this horror movie that everybody's talking about on HBO Max here in the US, it's on Disney Plus in Canada.
Seriously?
Yeah. I think because it's a 20th century production or whatever. So yeah, it's on Disney Plus, and he sent a screenshot. So, I mean, that not your example, Werewolf by Night. I mean, maybe they just throw it out there, it's Disney logo somewhere with Deadpool, and Deadpool does something to the Disney logo. Like, I don't know. So maybe they don't. Maybe they don't hide it.
This is the same company that put a penis on the cover of Little Mermaid. So,
multiple penises.
So,
don't discriminate against the multiples.
Yeah, okay, there's multi. Okay.
Let's have Deadpool just chop off Mickey Mouse's head before.
I heard chop off Mickey Mouse is like, where are you going with this? Okay. His head. Okay. One of the ears.
I know that was weird for me to say after we just talked about penises. And
hey, that would be ballsy for him too. Cause Mickey, whenever
is this the time for the Manscaped ad?
Oh boy. When the Mickey logo shows up, it's always got to be, you see the head and the two ears always in that way. Man, if Deadpool comes in and slashes one off, that's ballsy. Okay.
It is.
Anyway, sorry.
And yes, it is. So,
jeez, Lauer, you really took this show X-rated.
So yes,
I know what your guys' average length is for an episode, and I see where we're at now. I know why it's longer this time. My bad.
No, but you did give me the perfect segue to introduce Fresh Ball Fall. So it is Fresh Ball Fall. It is the season of pumpkin spice and making sure your crotch looks nice. That means sipping cider in a fall breeze and using Manscaped products to trim your balls with ease. See, when I read this now, I think of the Snoop Dogg, Andy Samberg commercial.
Oh yeah, Snoop D-O-double-G.
Oh geez,
you just let him.
Anyway,
wow,
that's right, guys. Today's show is brought to you by Manscaped, a company here to make sure that your foliage isn't the only thing shedding its excess leaves. Heck, even Mother Nature knows it's time to lose the excess clutter for fall. Join the 6 million men worldwide who trust Manscaped by going to manscaped.com for 20% off plus free shipping with the code Gotham. Remember the Platinum Package 4.0. Get the body trimmer, the weed whacker nose and ear hair trimmer. It's waterproof, so you guys can do it, in the shower and do all that. You get a body wash, you get the shampoo, you get deodorant. This is whole big huge package now. Haha, there we go again.
Oh boy.
So guys, Pete and I talk about this all the time. This partnership has been great for multiple reasons, but
that nose and hair trimmer is legit. That's probably the most powerful one I've ever used.
Yep. And I didn't pay as much attention to this stuff before we had the partnership with Manscaped. Now it's become part of a routine for me. So it's been pretty cool, this partnership with them. Again, you can always get our discount. Lauer, what about you, man? Is this
Eric opened the doors, Peter, okay?
you let us here.
I did.
So
I definitely know that the woody trees, they shed some leaves in the fall, and you still want the tree to look nice. So take care of it correctly and make sure you rake the leaves afterward. Okay, let's not be an animal. Dispose of correctly, and I mean the best tools for the job. I mean, Manscaped will do it.
It's true. It makes everything so much easier. I'm gonna lie, especially if you're guys, a little bit older guys, you feel like you just had a razor and some scissors. Now you actually have, which they do have now though, as part of one of their packages, they do have a little
You
pair of
just
shear
imagine
scissors.
just the out of control lawn care in the 1800s, pre-Manscaped. My goodness.
Right? Like, just imagine like doing it during like the times of like nights, just trimming it with a sword.
You're just
my God.
crossing your fingers
You
that
know?
you're not gonna slap. Like,
Don't
do
want to
too much
cross your
damage.
streams.
When you're at candlelight and you're just like taking a whack at it. So,
Oh God.
how long does this promo need to go on for? We'll just keep going. All right. So anyway,
No.
I
But
let you guys know I used your code to when I had to restock on some body wash and the shampoo. Delicious scent.
Yeah, that's the best thing, I think. The scent of the products is
Yeah.
just it's awesome.
Mhm.
Like, I love that scent.
It's a good cologne scent.
It definitely is. It definitely is. So guys, don't forget, you go to manscaped.com and get 20% off and free shipping with the code Gotham. That's 20% off with free shipping at manscaped.com when you use code Gotham. Manscaped, clear out the leaves. It's your tree trunk's time to shine.
Get ballsy like Disney.
Oh, jeez.
It's also someone else's time to shine again. So the last time we saw Vision was in WandaVision. It was at the end, and he was actually the White Vision, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I believe that's what it's called.
yes, so we are going to apparently get a show from featuring the White Vision called Vision Quest. I have wondered since that last episode what they were going to do with the character. I didn't know if they were going to continue on with him, or we were just going to see him pop up in different kinds of little cameo appearances here and there. But apparently, there's a show in development. So, what do you guys think? Did you like the way Vision was left off? Did you want to see more of the character? Were you fine if we never saw Vision again?
I was fine.
Vision was probably. Oh, sorry.
I'm sorry. This is your show. I'm speaking up too soon. I was fine if they were done with him. I don't know anything about this White Vision at all. I loved WandaVision. I thought that show was great. But yeah, I don't know. I'm in which I know that you're going to talk about Marvel here again coming up, and I'm so out of the loop on Marvel these days.
Well, it's okay.
With a lot of stuff with Marvel.
For me, it's pretty exciting because, I wasn't really pleased with the end of WandaVision. So to see where Vision, continues off of, post this traumatic event, I think that's pretty cool. So I'm down to see that and where that goes forward. But, this is cool because, Larry, you said, you're kind of out of the loop. I don't really know anything about White Vision. So like, this is going to tell me stuff about a character that I don't know about.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm excited to learn some new things and go forward with that. And, it'd be interesting to see what actually happens with Wanda and, what the deal is.
Right.
I would imagine she would appear somewhat in the show at some point. So we'll see what happens. But for me, overall, it's very interesting stuff. Just because, he wasn't, I don't think he factored into Multiverse of Madness at all, from what I can remember. That seemed to just be Wanda only. So we'll see how the events of Westfield or Westview, I forget what the hell the name of the town was, how that reacts to, Vision still being there, if he is still there, what goes on, how he deals with his grief. So I'm all down to see what goes on there.
Yeah, me too.
It stresses me out just a little bit because it's like oh no, another TV show. I only keep up with House of the Dragon and like Halloween themed baking shows right now. So it's like I can't add another
Halloween
one.
themed baking shows. That's fantastic. I love that.
Yeah, it's been tough to keep up with a lot of the MCU stuff just because it's been so expansive. Like I don't know what's going on with like Ironheart, for instance. Like that's a show that I'm not really interested in. I'll give the first episode a watch. I'll see where it goes, but it's definitely going to be something where I'm going to have to, probably pick up later because it's just lower on my radar. Now, that's the thing. Like, we know that Riri makes an appearance in Black Panther Wakanda Forever. So, if she steals the show, I could see that jumping up in my queue list for sure.
Right. So you mentioned Ironheart, Pete, and we know we're going to get a little bit of exposure to Ironheart in Wakanda Forever. So, you'll be able to learn a little bit of her backstory, I'm assuming, through that film, get exposed to that. And then we have what we know of Vision, and how it left off was that he basically, the White Vision got the old Vision's. Here's Leia again.
Yeah.
The White Vision got
She's
the
pumped
old
for Vision.
She is. Got the old Vision's memories put into him, kind of like what happened to Age of Ultron between him and Ultron. Now it kind of happened to the other way at the end of WandaVision, where he kind of gives his memories, and then the White Vision takes off because he remembers who he's supposed to be now. So yeah, from that point of view, I'm interested now to see where that's going. So I'm glad we're getting this series, because it's kind of been the character who I think has been shortchanged through the whole MCU. He's a much more powerful character, I think, than he got a little bit of that. Got to see that a little bit in Age of Ultron.
You think so? I think he's gotten a good amount of exposure.
I don't know if the characters. Well, he's been in films, like we've seen him. I don't know if it's been the Vision from the books. If you know the Vision from the books.
I can't tell you that. I've never really read Vision books, but I feel like the whole Wanda Vision, not the show, but the relationship really took kind of a forefront in the MCU ever since Ultron. I think he's been a huge factor.
Yeah, no, I agree. He's been in, and he's a key part of obviously what happens in Endgame and in Infinity War. He's a key part of all of that. But I don't know. When I think of the characters in the MCU that I'd like to see a little bit more on, he was kind of one of the ones I've always said, I wish we would have seen more of the real Vision. So we'll see what happens going forward. But it's a very cool thing that we're getting him back. I like Paul Bettany as an actor, so I think that's good.
He's fabulous.
Well. Yeah, so I think it'll be good going forward from that point of view.
Well, you got your wish. He's getting a spinoff.
Yeah, it's going to be cool to see. So we'll see that. So let's end also with two more things. We'll do the quick trailer reviews for Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. So we'll start with that one. Pretty cool, I thought. We see John Majors again. We see Kang, so we get a little bit of exposure. We know he's back. You see Bill Murray pop up. I'm not sure who he's playing.
I'm surprised he didn't get canceled.
Yeah, but it's kind of like a sci-fi film. This one kind of reminds me of a science fiction. Like, they're all technically science fiction, but this one, like a traditional science fiction film, you get in the quantum realm.
I'm getting like heavy Honey, I Shrunk the Kids vibes from this one,
stuff like
only
that.
On more like a scientific level.
Cassie's like older now.
Yeah.
And she's got a part of the whole thing. So it's a pretty cool trailer. Ant-Man is one of the characters that was a surprise hit for them, and he's been awesome. Like, Pete, I know you talk about how much you love it, the Ant-Man movie. So yeah, I'm digging this one. I'm pretty much in. I'm in for this.
Yeah, trailer sold me everything I needed to hear. I like the family aspect. And just it's cool seeing just the ant, I guess the ant family. You've got Pfeiffer, you've got what's his name, and what the hell's her Hope. Like, I know I'm mixing characters and actors' names, but overall, I think it'd be a cool dynamic to see them all together, in this kind of like miniature universe. And I thought the trailer looked interesting. I like the action. I'm interested to see how Kang puts Ant-Man in between a rock and a hard place, because it seems like that's where the trailer ends. And we know Kang is going to serve a larger purpose. So, they've kind of been teasing him Thanos style now in a couple movies and TV shows and so on and so forth. So I think it's going to be really interesting to see where this goes. The Multiverse Saga is the official title of this phase. So I'm looking forward to it. I'm a big fan of Ant-Man 1. I think Ant-Man and the Wasp is underrated. I thought that was really cool. And we're going to see, just the future. I'm really interested in this kind of subatomic world and, what Michelle Pfeiffer's character is hiding, what she didn't explain. That sounds really cool to me. And just, I'm interested to see just the future of this. Because like Eric said, it's such a surprise, not only Ant-Man, but Paul Rudd as a hero. So I'm all for it. And, to be honest with you, I'm really craving some Baskin Robbins right now. So I could go for some ice cream. Lauer?
Not my thing. I'm not that interested in the third Ant-Man movie.
Boo!
Sorry to bring it down.
Yeah.
And I loved the first one. I did. I loved that first one. The second one, I was like, eh. And yeah, just watching the trailer of this one. I don't need to bring it down.
I thought Ghost was such a cool villain.
No, it's not bringing it down. We want your opinion. If you don't like it, you don't like it. That's cool. You're allowed to crap on things.
This, you know what I'm saying? I'm a defender of stuff can maybe not look that great in a trailer, and it's because graphics, a lot of stuff aren't finished, you know, and stuff looks better by the time the movie's released. But a lot of this just did look like flat out we're standing in front of a green screen.
Oh, it was.
And which I know that's what they're doing, but also that shouldn't matter as a thought when you're watching, and that's all that. I don't know. I don't know. I watched it and I'm not interested. So have fun. Have fun when you guys see it in the theater.
I will. Maybe. No, I mean if it's trash, it's trash. I'll say it's trash. Like I'll totally be the one to be
and what do I know? Marvel farts and they make $1 billion. So
that's true. Have you seen Captain Marvel?
I don't
Write that down.
So I don't know. I'm probably in a minority here, but I'm not that interested. So there we go. The end.
All right. Well, what about the Guardians of the Galaxy holiday special?
That looked delightful.
Okay.
Complete opposite reaction with that special. I thought it looked charming. I thought it was fun. I thought the whole inclusion of Kevin Bacon, because he's in Footloose and that's all that Peter knows is early 80s. So, you know, that's of course who they would go and try and find is Kevin Bacon, you know, 40 years later. And then the ending shot of Mantis and Drax bouncing like yard to yard. I think Mantis, I've loved that character since they brought her in the second in volume 2, which, you know, I'm like one of the few that actually really likes that one. I like the Mantis character. But yeah, so I just, I think this special looks like a lot of fun.
I'm with you. I did not expect Kevin Bacon to be in this. And when I was kind of wondering what they were going to do. I actually thought they were going to kidnap Santa Claus. Like that's where I thought they were going. And then they throw the curveball of Kevin Bacon in there. And I was like, this is incredible. Like this takes like 7 degrees of Kevin Bacon to a whole new level because now he's literally connected to everyone thanks to the MCU.
Yes.
Because he's playing Kevin Bacon, I imagine. This is absolutely just a brilliant idea. And you know, I wasn't a fan of Guardians 2, so don't call me a James Gunn shill because I didn't like that movie. But I'm pumped to see where this goes. I think Batista as Drax has kind of been a hidden gem. You know, and I'm interested to see that character evolve. And, you know, he's grown into really one hell of an actor. So I kind of hope to see a little bit more range and depth from him. But yeah, you know, when I first saw the trailer, I was like, okay, this is interesting. All right. And then, like I said, just once you see Kevin Bacon, I was like, this is intense. And I'm really excited for that. So, and actually, the first time I ever saw Kevin Bacon in anything was Friday the 13th, the original movie. So that is, and that's also very 80s as well. So, you know, again, just this looks fun. This looks like a good time, and I look forward to watching it on Christmas Eve or whenever it drops.
November.
Oh, November.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So we're starting early.
25th, I think.
Yeah.
All right, so Thanksgiving.
Yep.
My question is, what is Sean Gunn gonna do after in the Marvel universe when James leaves?
He's gonna start showing up in all the DC stuff. He was already Calendar Man in the Suicide Squad.
Wasn't he Weasel too? Technically,
he was Weasel.
Yeah. Oh, he's fine. He's good. He's employed.
I don't think he has to worry about you know, if there's a Guardians 4, I would imagine he would be in it unless he gets killed off in 3. You know, I would imagine he's not exclusive to Warner Brothers just because his brother is, but he's gonna pop up in a bunch of DC stuff. Definitely. I mean, he pops up in all his brother's stuff.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to this. This was delightful, as Lauer said. This was something that you know, definitely fits the IP. Obviously, this is what they are as characters, and I think it's going to be a fun show.
Do we know how long this is?
I'm not sure.
If it's a special, like, man, my guess is like 40, 45 minutes.
Yeah, okay. I would guess probably a Werewolf by Night's about an hour, so I would guess it's probably in that range.
Yeah. Otherwise, it'd be a movie.
Right. Exactly. It'd also be a movie. So I'm really excited for this one. And again, we don't know what's going to happen after 3 with Guardians of the Galaxy. We don't know how that ends. So enjoy these characters while they're there. And the actors might want to move on too. So
if I'm not mistaken, James Gunn always said he was going to be done with Guardians after 3. So that'll be the conclusion to his Guardians story. So I would imagine he would, even without this DC contract, I imagine he wouldn't have come back for 4. He made it pretty clear. He was going to end it and his way and move on from there. So
but will Pratt be back? We heard Batista probably won't be back. So this might be one of the last times you get to see these characters. So it's gonna be cool though. It's gonna be a cool little thing, and Christmas stuff usually always kind of just makes something a little bit better when you throw.
I was gonna say, you slap a little bit of Christmas spirit on something. It's like, I mean, maybe it was garbage, but I mean, it was fun garbage, at worst. But I don't think that this will be garbage.
I don't either. So, all right,
Trash
guys.
Panda, but no garbage.
Trash Panda.
Well, we're gonna wrap this one up now. We're gonna wrap this show. So, Lauer, thank you so much for coming on.
Oh,
it's been far too long.
My pleasure.
And it's been
far too long.
It's been far too long that I've worked with you, so it's been fun doing something creatively with you again. So thank you for coming on the show.
This is great. If you ever do a Mountain Dew poll, you can. I'll be back. Just let me know when. And Cost would like to join for that one as well. But yeah, thanks for the invite. It's fun to talk some nerd, mostly DC, which is always
your avenue.
Always a joy.
Yes.
So there you go.
Much more your thing. So
it's much more my thing.
So very much fun. And we didn't have a lot of other news. Sometimes we talk other things, but
really, I thought we got a lot of news in here.
No, I meant like other outside of this one was pretty much DC Marvel. That was what we did.
And I'm mostly DC, a little bit of Marvel, and then that's
But thanks again. So tell everyone where they can find you, sir. Tell all your contacts and all your plugs and all that.
Oh, I host the Batman Book Club, which you should avoid because it's just full of nonsense that Pete likes to rant about. But yeah, I host that podcast wherever you listen to podcasts. Just find it, the Batman Book Club, on Twitter at the Batman BC. Pete's on there all the time. I think this month he's on there like 7 times, as well as other podcasts I did with him for Batman on Film, in which I have a lot of reviews and interviews posted there. So check me out there as well. And yes, while it's been a while for the Aquaman to be on the show, we'll get him to read some more comics and he'll be on.
Aquaman Book Club, anyone?
Yeah, there we go. Start that.
Jesus.
Let's get it going. So yes, thanks for having me, gentlemen.
Is Aquaman a good book?
Right now, he doesn't have a book currently, a monthly, but there are plenty of Aquaman books to read over the character's history.
Well, I know that. I just
start New 52, Jeff Johns.
Yeah,
start with that.
If you want to start off at a number 1 starting point, that's probably your best bet.
Okay, that's good to know. All right, Pete, your turn. Give him your spiel.
You can follow me all over social media. That's Twitter, Instagram, and Zack Snyder's favorite platform, Vero, at Pete Illustrated. You can follow podcast number 1. That's the podcast you're listening to right now. Straight Outta Gotham at straight_O_G on both Instagram and Twitter. We have a Facebook group and a Facebook fan page. Consider joining and following both. You can follow podcast number 2, the Italian Spider-Man Coalition podcast. That is at Italians, number 4 Spidey on Twitter. I co-host that with Nicholas and Nico Caruso, the finest that Wrigley Field can offer. You can check out at Team Yellow Oval because we're still riding high on the return of Michael Keaton. That's the one legacy casting that I hope doesn't fade for me. You could check me out on batmanonfilm.com. I've got comic book reviews. I've got interviews. I've got animated movie reviews. I've got reviews of the greatest TV show to ever be written, Batwoman Season 3. You can check out Batman on Film on YouTube. I have interviews with Mr. Uslan and Tara Strong, among others there. I'm all over the internet. I'm doing a bunch of things. I got toy reviews up on YouTube too, so check that stuff out. And as always, it's just a fun time to come here and chit-chat with the fellas.
Thank you, sir. You guys know where to find me. Twitter at Finally33, same as on Instagram. Check me out over there as well, even though really that's just where I post food pictures, so really not much of a reason to go there, except to see what I made for dinner. You could check that out over there on my Instagram page. If you guys like basketball, specifically the New York Knicks, I have a podcast called All Nicked Up. On Twitter, it's at all_nicked_up, where me and my friends discuss the plight of being a New York Knicks fan as well. But they're 3-2. They're playing okay this year, so I can't really be mad yet. But that might change as the season goes on, as these things tend to do with them. So you can check out over there. If you guys are watching Andor, I do a weekly show on Thursday nights at 9 p.m. discussing Disney Plus and Lucasfilm, Star Wars, Andor. The show has been pretty controversial. Shocker with Star Wars stuff. It usually is. But I've been enjoying it. I've had Steve Helm on. I've had Aaron Varola from the Family Garage on. So if you guys want to check that out, it's a live stream.
When are you going to have Rick Shue?
It's funny you bring that up because I've been trying to get him on, but Mr. He needs 80 dress rehearsals before he could start anything. So it's a little difficult to make that happen for a weekly show. So we'll see how that works out over there. But as Pete mentioned, guys, our group on Facebook, our page on Facebook, that's where all our information is. The group is a good place where we can get in and talk to you guys and talk about stuff that happens during the week, like we did this past week with the news of Gunn and Safran joining. We had a little bit of a discussion over there, Black Adam, stuff like that, all that fun stuff we do in the Facebook group. So if you want to be a part of it, search for Straight Outta Gotham Facebook group and ask to be invited, and we will bring you in. It's always a fun time. I love talking to you guys about this stuff. So I also want to end the show by wishing everyone a happy Halloween. This Monday is Halloween. It's one of my favorite holidays. So I want to wish you guys a happy Halloween. I hope you enjoy the holiday. I hope you're never too old to trick or treat. So
Never.
If you want to get out there and trick or treat, go ahead. Dress up, but you got to be dressed up. That's my only caveat. If people come to my door and they're not dressed up, I'm like, yeah, leave. I'm not giving you candy. So
you just throw apples at them.
So yeah, I'm not one of those guys, but
you should give them broccoli. Like if you come into my house without a costume, I'm giving you broccoli.
Or costume ideas. Just write them on a piece of paper. Here you go. This is what should be. Put that in their basket. That'd be funny. But I believe that's it. Unless you guys have any closing comments.
How's Bula?
The long Halloween.
There we go. So for Ryan Lauer and Peter Vera, I am Eric Holzman. You are listening to Straight Outta Gotham, and we will see you next time.
Booyah!